Chapter 104. Ning Cheng is Ning Xiao Cheng. He had just passed through the Dawn Forest. It's me, it's me. Ji Luofei was finally unable to speak about the relationship between her and Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng picked up the marriage vow, and suddenly felt a bit bitter. Why did all the girls he was with had to say goodbye in such an inexplicable way? Ji Luofei had left behind the marriage vow. It was clear that she no longer had anything to do with him. Ning Cheng grabbed the marriage vow in his hands. An indescribable loneliness rose in his heart. From the bottom of his heart, he still cared about Ji Luofei. Once, she had regarded Ning Cheng as her only relative. Even her paternal aunt Ji Yao he could not be compared to Ning Cheng. However, her mother brought her an unacceptable fact, which made it impossible for her to be together with Ning Cheng. "Mother, I must go see Ning Cheng again. I cannot live without him." After walking out of the Moze city, Ji Luofei finally could not suppress the desire and hesitation in her heart. She had to see Ning Cheng again. She did not know when it started, but she could not bear to live without Ning Cheng. But Xiong Qihua did not expect that after her daughter heard the news, she would immediately spit out a mouthful of blood. Even her breathing would become chaotic. "It doesn't matter if you do not believe me, but you must not hurt your own foundation." Xiong Qihua was really scared. In case her daughter's cultivation foundation was damaged, what could she do? The restriction at the door of the room suddenly opened. Ning Cheng was suddenly awakened from his endless contemplation. He had just looked up, when he saw a familiar figure rushing over, and throwing herself into his arms. "Mother, did you know that I know Ning Cheng?" Ji Luofei suddenly felt that something was wrong. Ning Cheng wearily entered the Moze city, and immediately went to the rest stop that he was staying at. In these past few days, his harvest was not small. Not only did he obtain many good things, but his cultivation had also advanced to the great circle of true condensation second level. He wanted to use the remaining few days to stabilize his cultivation. Xiong Qihua felt guilty in her heart. She lowered her head and remained silent. She did not know how to explain it to Luofei. In fact, in her heart, Ning Xiao Cheng was a good person, and was completely worthy of her daughter. But there was no turning back. It has already come to this point. If she went back on her words, then the traces between her and her daughter would be difficult to make up for. Xiong Qihua secretly sighed in her heart. Her daughter has not experienced the ways of the world. There are some things that she is still unable to understand. She could only slowly guide her daughter to mention the matter of her child's adoptive father. Fortunately, her daughter finally agreed to leave with her. It would be best if he never saw that guy called Ning Cheng again. The words that Xiong Qihua was looking forward to were not spoken by Ji Luofei. On the contrary, she could feel her daughter's uneasiness and unwillingness to leave. "Luofei, what's wrong with you?" Xiong Qihua hurriedly supported her daughter, who seemed to be about to fall, as she spoke in an incomparably flustered tone. "Mother, let's go." Ji Luofei forcibly suppressed the pain in the depths of her heart, as she spoke in a calm tone while supporting Xiong Qihua. Ji Luofei slowly calmed down. Even if it was a sad thing, there would always be a time when it would calm down. Her mother lowered her head in silence. She thought that one of her mother's actions was because she had let down her father, and the other was because she had let down herself. Since Ning Cheng and her knew each other, then his mother should have heard it. Xiong Qihua murmured, "But the two of us, mother and daughter, no matter where we go, we will be laughed at. Should I go and persuade her to come back?" Zhu Hongwen looked at Ji Luofei's back as she walked away. Ji Luofei's mind was already fraught with anxiety because of her mother's matter, and her heart was in turmoil. At this time, when she suddenly heard that this person was her closest relative, Ning Cheng, it was equivalent to a sudden sneak attack on her. This kind of anxiety had finally reached a critical point, and she was completely unable to accept it. She could not bear to part with her daughter, and could not bear to part with her man. She even had such an idea popping up in her mind, that she could not tell Luofei about Zhu Hongwen's matter. However, she immediately discarded this idea. If she really dared to say such a thing, then she would never be able to meet her daughter again. "Go? Where are we going? Where can I go?" Xiong Qihua felt even more guilty in her heart. She felt that she had done something wrong. She felt that she had done something wrong, and that she would never be able to let down her daughter. Regardless of whether he could return to Earth in this lifetime, Ji Luofei was one of the most important people in his life. After she had come out from the desert with Ning Cheng, she had vowed that she would believe in Ning Cheng. Xiong Qihua silently turned around, and slowly walked away from the Moze city. Her body was incomparably desolate. He did not even need to pick it up to look at it. Ning Cheng knew that this marriage certificate belonged to both him and Ji Luofei. It was obvious that his original copy was also kept by Ji Luofei. Before, he had thought that his own marriage certificate had already been burned to the ground, but he had never thought that it would always be with Ji Luofei. Luofei, I have found you, and have fulfilled a wish in my heart. I just want to abort the child, and live in seclusion with you. Xiong Qihua said with a sigh. It was when Tian Muwan had heartlessly left him, and he had walked alone on the high road, when he was hit by the yellow beam of light. When he was at his most desolate and helpless, it was Ji Luofei who had carried him on her back, and then brought him back to the black stone house. Seeing her mother's indecisive eyes, Ji Luofei felt extremely sad in her heart. She believed that her mother would never lie to her. But in the depths of her heart, she was unable to produce even half a shred of hatred towards Ning Cheng. This kind of feeling was something that she could not explain clearly. Ning Cheng had only done that kind of thing under the influence of his lust, not to mention that he had also saved her mother's life. Ji Luofei did not answer her mother's words. She was sluggish for a long time, and then murmured, I don't believe it, Ning Cheng is definitely not such a person. After experiencing the matter with Tian Muwan, Ning Cheng had never thought about the matters between men and women, and also did not want to think about it. If not for the fact that Ji Luofei and him were an engaged couple, he would not have had such contact with Ji Luofei. After she walked out of the Moze city, the feeling of wanting to see Ning Cheng became even more intense. Her heart suddenly leaned towards Ning Cheng. She did not want to leave the Moze city, or rather, she did not want to be further away from Ning Cheng. Now Ji Luofei and Tian Muwan were saying their goodbyes, without any reason, without any explanation, and without even half a shred of hesitation. At that moment, he felt an unprecedented tranquility. He did not even feel the shock of suddenly arriving in a strange world. Luofei. Ning Cheng quickly embraced Ji Luofei in his arms. His heart unexpectedly was filled with an indescribable joy. He had once thought that he and Ji Luofei were just friends, but after Ji Luofei left behind the marriage certificate, he knew that he already had Ji Luofei's shadow in his heart. After losing it, only then did he know how precious it was. Ning Cheng's first reaction was that Ji Luofei had gone to look for him. He almost took a few steps and arrived at Ji Luofei's secluded room. Then he saw the closed-up marriage certificate. After she had followed her mother out of the Moze city, she met the housekeeper Zhu Hongwen, and the uneasy feeling in her heart became even more intense. In the depths of her heart, there was a strong desire. Even if she had to leave, she wanted to see Ning Cheng, and ask him about this matter. Without hearing Ning Cheng's words with her own ears, she could not feel at ease in her heart. Seeing her daughter return to the Moze city after saying a few words, Xiong Qihua rubbed her eyes, as she secretly sighed in her heart. She knew that she had already lost her daughter. Ning Cheng. Ji Luofei whimpered. At this time she had already completely forgotten about the matter between Ning Cheng and her mother. Seeing her daughter vomit blood, Xiong Qihua was greatly shocked. At this time she regretted speaking those words. She and Zhu Hongwen had already calculated everything, but they had not calculated the reaction of Luofei when she heard the news. In their view, when Luofei heard the news, other than anger, she would not have even half a shred of expectation towards Ning Cheng. Mother, we have our own life, why should we be afraid of others laughing at us? Ji Luofei finished her sentence, as she suddenly felt a strong sense of uneasiness. She had a feeling that as long as she left Ning Cheng, she and Ning Cheng would no longer have any fate. But deep in her heart, she refused to doubt her own mother. At the same time she also refused to doubt Ning Cheng. He had never used this chi-gathering stone, and had always kept it by his side. Today, Ji Luofei had placed the two halves of the marriage certificate in front of him, causing Ning Cheng to feel a sense of sadness in his heart. He once again took out the chi-gathering stone that Ji Luofei had left for him, but remained silent. Ji Luofei did not understand the meaning behind Xiong Qihua's words, and did not take the initiative to ask the housekeeper Hong Wen to pretend to accompany Xiong Qihua. She just said to Xiong Qihua, "Mother, let's find a distant city to live in seclusion, and then. Her aunt was also her relative. When her aunt had taken her away, she had almost never been able to see Ning Cheng again. Her mother was even closer to her than her aunt, but after she saw her mother, she always had a feeling in her heart that Ning Cheng was her closest relative. Xiong Qihua shook her head. "No, I feel that Luofei's choice is right, let's go. I am not worthy to be her mother, Ning Cheng took out a jade box from his storage bag, and then took out a dark yellow stone from the jade box. He held the stone in his hand in a daze. This chi-gathering stone was the first chi-gathering stone that he had obtained after coming to the Yixing mainland. This was something that Ji Luofei had risked her life to obtain from the fighting pot. Ji Luofei herself was not willing to use it. Her purpose was to let his cultivation speed up a bit. Ji Luofei really did not have the courage to let Xiong Qihua give birth to her younger brother or sister. Holding the dark yellow chi-gathering stone in his hand, the scene that appeared in Ning Cheng's mind was not that of Ji Luofei giving him the chi-gathering stone, nor was it the scene of Ji Luofei saving him from the shriveled palm in the desert, but rather the scene of Ji Luofei carrying him on her back, and slowly returning home. Xiong Qihua immediately knew that she was worried about her daughter, and had inadvertently spoken out with a huge flaw, and immediately asked in a daze, "Who is Ning Cheng?" "Don't." Ji Luofei's first reaction was unexpectedly a strong objection. Only with what she had said a moment ago, would her daughter take the initiative to ask Zhu Hongwen to be the nominal father of the unborn child. Chapter 105. Ji Luofei had thought of many ways to calm Ning Cheng down, but when she saw Ning Cheng, she could not remember even a single one of them. But when she saw Ning Cheng holding the marriage certificate in one hand and the chi-gathering stone in the other, she completely forgot that she had come back to ask Ning Cheng about it, or rather, she had come back to see Ning Cheng. "What happened? You want to give me the marriage certificate, and then leave alone?" Ning Cheng stroked Ji Luofei's hair. His heart was filled with pity. When he first came to this world, he knew that he and Ji Luofei were not people of the same world, and took the initiative to dissolve the marriage. But now, his cultivation was far higher than Ji Luofei's. Moreover, he also had feelings for Ji Luofei. He was a person who cherished the feelings of adversity. Because of this, he did not understand why Ji Luofei left without saying goodbye. Similarly, for Ji Luofei to come back, he felt a lot more comfortable in his heart. Ji Luofei felt Ning Cheng's warm embrace. She suddenly reached out and touched the chi-gathering stone in Ning Cheng's hand, and softly said, "You still have this?" "Yes, I still have it." Ning Cheng felt that Ji Luofei's chaotic mood had calmed down. He knew that something must have happened to Ji Luofei. Ji Luofei did not know how to bring up this matter. She had intended to ask Ning Cheng, and even tell Ning Cheng, the fact that he already had a child, and then quietly leave. However, she found that after she saw Ning Cheng, she could no longer leave. Since she could not leave, she did not dare to speak about this matter. She believed that her mother would not lie to her, but she was completely unable to accept this fact. Even thinking about it, it was still incomparably terrifying. Once again aware of Ji Luofei's panic, Ning Cheng suddenly patted Ji Luofei's back and asked, "Did someone come to look for you?" "How do you know?" Ji Luofei's rhetorical question exposed the truth of Ning Cheng's question. Ning Cheng was slightly surprised. "Was it your aunt who came to look for you? Did she ask you to agree to the Shui clan's request?" Ji Luofei shook her head. "No, I would rather believe you than believe in my aunt. In my heart, you are more important than my aunt. Just follow me." Ji Luofei's heart was already filled with dependence, or rather Ning Cheng's words had already been planted in her heart. Ning Cheng's thoughts were much more meticulous compared to Ji Luofei, so when Ji Luofei said that she believed in him, Ning Cheng immediately knew that the one who came to look for Ji Luofei was definitely Xiong Qihua. Only Ji Luofei's mother was closer to her than her aunt, and only her mother could make Ji Luofei leave him. Moreover, he had met Ji Luofei's mother and had an unpleasant experience with her. "Did your mother come to see you?" Ning Cheng immediately asked. Ji Luofei trembled, she quickly pushed Ning Cheng away, and with a pale face she nodded and said, "Yes, my mother came to find me. She said that she had seen you in the Dawn Forest." "That's right, I really did see your mother in the Dawn Forest, moreover I also." Ning Cheng originally wanted to tell Ji Luofei about the matter of Zhu Hongwen and Xiong Qihua, but thinking that this matter would definitely not be a small blow to Ji Luofei, as such he did not say it out loud. "Ning Cheng, you towards my mother, do you know who she is?" Ji Luofei asked with a pale face, as she secretly trembled as she looked at Ning Cheng. She was hoping that Ning Cheng would say that it was a lie, that he had not laid his hands on her mother. She also unconsciously believed from the bottom of her heart that her mother would not lie to her. Ning Cheng did not know what Xiong Qihua had said to Ji Luofei. He sighed and said, "Luofei, when I saw your mother, I knew that she was your mother, Xiong Qihua." Ji Luofei's tears fell like rain. "Since you knew that she was my mother, why did you still lay your hands on her?" But she could not blame Ning Cheng, she simply did not know what she should do at this moment. Ji Luofei's memory of her mother was very deep, but her emotions were very indifferent. At this time, Ji Luofei even wanted to say to Ning Cheng that he would take her to a place where there was no one around, and that she would never come out again. But she was unable to say these words, she suddenly felt that she was completely redundant. Ning Cheng looked at the crying Ji Luofei, he did not know how to comfort her, and could only say, "In fact, when I knew that Xiong Qihua was your mother, I gave you face, and did not lay my hands on her. If your mother said that I had hurt her, then I would have been helpless. The reason why I did not tell you about meeting your mother, was not because of guilt, nor was it because I had hurt her." Ning Cheng guessed that Xiong Qihua might have added oil to the fire in front of Ji Luofei, saying that he had seriously injured her, and then asked him to leave Ji Luofei. Even if Ning Cheng thought about it, he would not have thought that Zhu Hongwen's plan was several times more excessive than what he had thought. If not for Ji Luofei's reluctance to part with Ning Cheng, Zhu Hongwen's plan would have already succeeded. "You said that you did not touch my mother. Then after you saved my mother, and even if you were not poisoned, that child was not yours?" Ji Luofei's voice trembled, as she threw out a few questions in succession. Even before Ning Cheng answered, she thought that Ning Cheng was not lying to her. "Wait." Ning Cheng quickly stopped Ji Luofei's questions. "When did I save your mother?" "I was just passing by the place where your mother lived in the Dawn Forest. Moreover, I was not poisoned, I was not even afraid of the poisonous gas of the sand poison beast, so how could I be poisoned by ordinary poisons? And what about the child? What the hell is going on?" After asking these questions, Ning Cheng had already guessed that perhaps Xiong Qihua had a child, and had said in front of Ji Luofei that the child was his. If that was the case, then this woman was really not worthy to be a mother. Ji Luofei was not a fool. When she heard Ning Cheng's words, she immediately knew that her mother was most likely lying to her. Thinking back to her mother's unnatural speech, and how coincidental it was for her to find the rest stop. Moreover, her mother and Zhu Hongwen were together, and it seemed that her father's death was not very sad, she completely understood what was going on. "I'm sorry, I almost left you." Ji Luofei was unable to contain her emotions, and once again threw herself into Ning Cheng's arms. For her, she would rather Ning Cheng was telling the truth, and her mother had lied to her. "When you saw my mother in the Dawn Forest, did you also see that Zhu Hongwen?" As Ji Luofei thought of these things, her heart once again felt like it was being cut by a sharp knife. Now that she understood the truth of the matter, she knew that her mother's words to her were somewhat contradictory. Ning Cheng patted Ji Luofei's shoulder, he knew that Ji Luofei already understood what was going on. Since Ji Luofei understood, then there was no need to continue to talk about this matter. Luofei, in my hometown, there is an ancient adage, the son should not speak of his father's mistakes, this matter is not worth mentioning. I will not explain the details of this matter, remember to believe my words, I have not done anything wrong to you or your parents. I believe you. Ji Luofei completely calmed down, apart from Ning Cheng, her aunt wanted to marry her into the Shui clan, and her mother, who she had just met, unexpectedly lied to her for an outsider. At this time in her heart, only Ning Cheng was worthy of her trust. Fortunately, deep in her heart, she still believed in Ning Cheng, otherwise she would not have come back. Your hometown. Ji Luofei was no longer disturbed by other things, and her thoughts immediately became clear. Ning Cheng knew that he had spilled the beans, he somewhat embarrassedly scratched his head and said, this matter is a long story, I will explain it to you later. Ning Cheng, in the future when your cultivation is high enough, you can take me to the Don Forest to worship my father, and then we. Ji Luofei suddenly thought of her own appearance, and was finally unable to speak about the matter of marriage. Ning Cheng knew the meaning of Ji Luofei's words, he wanted to wait until his cultivation was high enough, and then see if he could return to Earth. If when he got married, he could let his younger sister participate in it, that would be great. Moreover, he also had a thought in his mind, and that was to restore Ji Luofei's appearance. Feeling that Ji Luofei in his arms was getting softer and softer, Ning Cheng finally could not help but lower his head and kiss Ji Luofei's lips. The moment she touched Ning Cheng's lips, Ji Luofei felt her mind go blank. She subconsciously tightened her arms around Ning Cheng, and clumsily returned the kiss. For them, this was the first time. Chapter 106. Under this happy mood, Ning Cheng unexpectedly broke through from the true condensation second level to the true condensation third level. He had just stabilized his cultivation, and did not even have the time to celebrate with Ji Luofei, when Lu Xian from the God Wind 5-Star Academy came looking for him. That's right. Right now, I can only hope that the reason why you scored 100 points in the previous exam was not because you had seen these things, but because of your memory, Lu Xian said with a wry smile. Ning Cheng interrupted Lu Xian's words, Deacon Lu, the Academy's facilities assessment, how many points did our God Wind Academy get? Deacon Lu, please speak, I will definitely do my best in the semifinals. After Ning Cheng felt relieved, he decided to help the God Wind Academy. Ning Cheng nodded and spoke, if that's the case, then the choice would indeed be somewhat troublesome. They had not even started, but the score of the God Wind Academy was already at the bottom. Ning Cheng frowned and said, this score is really not high, compared to the first place Falling Star Academy, they unexpectedly have a difference of more than 30 points. What about the other matches? How do they compete? Deacon Lu, the great meet has not yet started, so you don't have to worry about it. Maybe we still have a chance. Ning Cheng comforted him. Ning Cheng chuckled and spoke, it looks like I am participating in the God Wind Academy's memory test. At this time, only 7 days had passed since the semifinals. Lu Xian sighed and said, not only does it have an impact, it has a huge impact. Our God Wind Academy has also recently found some good seedlings. If we hold the great meet 2 years from now, and compete for the position of a 6-star academy, then there would still be a glimmer of hope. Now that the Angry Axe Valley had suddenly opened in advance, the Hua continent's 5-star academies had to follow the requirements of the other 5-star academies, so the tournament had also been brought forward to now. But if the tournament starts now, my God Wind Academy absolutely does not have the qualifications. Lu Xian spoke with some anxiousness, Ning Xiaocheng, this time there has been some unforeseen events. Originally the Angry Axe Valley would only open after 2 years, but a few days ago I don't know what happened, but the smoke from the illusion array outside suddenly dispersed. The smoke outside the Angry Axe Valley has already dispersed, it means that in at most a month's time, the Angry Axe Valley will open. The quota for the Angry Axe Valley in the entire lower class continent was 20 people, of which the 6-star academies that would be selected would have 5 spots, the second place would have 3 spots, the third and fourth place would have 2 spots, and the fifth place would only have 1 spot. The rest of the spots will be divided among the other academies and sections. After a pause, Lu Xian sincerely spoke to Ning Cheng. Ning Shaocheng, I will not hide it from you now. The God Wind Academy is no longer worthy of its name, it is even inferior to some of the 4-star academies. My God Wind Academy's only profound core cultivator is Dean Zong. A few years ago, he was seriously injured and went into seclusion, and he is still unable to come out. After this incident, the window paper between Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei was pierced through. Saying that, Ning Cheng felt that something was wrong, as he once again asked, Deacon Lu, the Angry Axe Valley will open ahead of time, and our 5-star tournament will also open ahead of time. Is it because after the 5-star tournament, the outstanding people will have the opportunity to enter the Angry Axe Valley? If it was said that Ning Cheng only had some feelings for Ji Luofei, then Ji Luofei did not hesitate to return to Ning Cheng, causing Ji Luofei's shadow to be branded in his heart. After experiencing the matter with Tian Muwan, this was the first time that Ning Cheng truly let another girl walk into his heart. Regarding the strength of the Shui clan, Ji Luofei had already told him about it. They had a profound core cultivator, whose strength was in no way inferior to a 5-star academy. Deacon Lu, does the early opening of the Angry Axe Valley have any impact on our God Wind Academy? Ning Cheng asked as he did not understand. Lu Xian spoke with annoyance, it is this matter, if 2 years from now, even if we are not able to get the first place in the 5-star tournament, we would definitely not end up in the last place. But with the tournament being brought forward, the competitiveness of our God Wind Academy would immediately drop by a lot. Ning Cheng also thought about it. The Shui clan was after all one of the 7 great clans of the Hua continent, as such they would not retaliate against the 2 of them for Luofei, moreover they would also not offend the God Wind Academy for such a trivial matter. After all, Luofei had not agreed to any of the requests of the Shui clan, she had not even seen the people from the Shui clan. Ning Cheng immediately remembered the things that he and the old woman had done in the forbidden cold river a few days ago. Could it be that the immortal mansion had been moved by the white-haired old woman, as a result the Angry Axe Valley had opened ahead of time? According to the old woman, the immortal mansion in the forbidden cold river had appeared together with the Angry Axe Valley. That's right, some of the academies have powerful cultivations, but their memory and comprehension ability are not very strong. If that's the case, then the academies would not only need to choose powerful disciples to participate in the tournament, but they would also need to choose some disciples with strong memory. Lu Xian said in agreement. Lu Xian hurriedly explained, I did not make it clear, each of the academies that choose 5 people must be below the essence building realm, and must be under 30 years of age. Deacon Lu, can you tell me about the rules of the 5-star tournament, as well as how to participate? When Ning Cheng heard that he still had the opportunity to enter the Angry Axe Valley, he immediately became interested. He did not believe that if he helped the God Wind Academy to obtain a place in the tournament, then the God Wind Academy would not give him a spot. Ning Cheng knew, if that was really the case, then he would have to show his true strength. Fortunately, Ning Cheng did not care about it. In the first written exam he had done one less question. Now that he had joined the God Wind Academy, if it was not a last resort, he did not need to hide his true strength. On the surface, the God Wind Academy is stronger than the Shui clan, but in terms of real strength, the God Wind Academy is indeed not as good as the Shui clan. But my God Wind Academy has been established for thousands of years, so we are not afraid of a trivial Shui clan. Did you offend the Shui clan? Lu Xian was an old fox. With just a few casual words from Ning Cheng, he had already guessed 1 or 2 things. Wouldn't that mean that each academy would send their most powerful person to the tournament? Ning Cheng felt that it was not that simple. Lu Xian immediately said, so it was this kind of thing, then you can rest assured, the Shui clan would not go so far as to offend my God Wind Academy for this kind of thing. Now I will talk to you about the tournament of the 5-star academies. Ning Cheng frowned. He had intended to use the tournament in 2 years to get a place in the Angry Axe Valley, but now it seems that there was no hope for him. He was just a nobody, and would absolutely not be able to get a place in the Angry Axe Valley. But the Angry Axe Valley was going to open in advance, so why did Lu Xian come looking for him? Ning Cheng had the most powerful memory in the God Wind Academy. If Ning Cheng did not rely on his memory to pass the exam, then the God Wind Academy would really be in danger. Lu Xian had come here to ask for Ning Cheng's full help. Now that Ning Cheng asked, he quickly explained in detail. A senior from the Jia continent thought that the tournament of the 5-star academies should be held as soon as possible. It would be best if a 6-star academy could be selected within a few days. So the tournament is divided into 2 parts. The first part is the evaluation of the academy's facilities. This has already been evaluated. Lu Xian nodded and said, the second round of the selection of disciples for the 5-star academies has been cancelled. The top 100 students who were supposed to participate in the second round will directly enter the 5-star academies as the winners. 3 days later, the tournament of the 5-star academies will be held. After the tournament, a 6-star academy will be selected on the spot, and then 20 people will be selected to enter the Angry Axe Valley. The Angry Axe Valley only opens once in many years. The resources and the good things inside are simply unimaginable. The cultivators from the intermediate class continents and advanced class continents that enter the Angry Axe Valley are beyond our control. But in the lower class continents, the more people that enter the Angry Axe Valley, the greater the potential for future development. Ning Cheng did not conceal anything, and spoke about Ji Luofei's matter. After discussing some of the details of the tournament with Ning Cheng in detail, Lu Xian finally left Ning Cheng's residence. If Ning Cheng was able to show his bravery in the tournament of the 5-star academies, then the God Wind Academy would have a promising future. Deacon Lu, I was originally worried that a woman from the Falling Star Academy would know that I had come here, so I changed my name to Ning Xiaocheng. But now I am not afraid of her. Deacon Lu can just call me by my original name Ning Cheng. According to Deacon Lu's words, wouldn't the strength of the God Wind Academy be even worse than the Shui clan of the Moze city? Ning Cheng suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. He had joined the God Wind Academy in order to seek a backer. If the God Wind Academy was not as good as the Shui clan, then what kind of backer was he looking for? The second round was the tournament of comprehension. It was still the same 5 people who participated. Finally, the examinees from each of the academies will be chosen with the highest score, as the score for that academy in the second round, and will be added to the total score. The third round is the tournament of duels. Whoever wins the most matches will have a higher score. The specific rules of the third round will have to wait for the Great Elder to personally announce it. Lu Xian said with some embarrassment, the total score is also 100 points, our God Wind Academy has 41 points. The highest score is the Falling Star Academy, with 75 points, followed by the Clear Sky Academy with 60 points, the Luohua Academy with 55 points, and the Thunder Academy with 53 points. Lu Xian continued to reply, the next 3 rounds of the second part of the tournament, each academy can only choose a maximum of 5 people to participate in the tournament. Once these 5 people are selected, they will have to participate in all 3 rounds of the tournament, and are not allowed to change people in the middle of the tournament. The first round is still the same as the tournament of memory. The Great Elder from the intermediate class continents will personally come up with the questions. The highest score will be taken as the score for the academy in the first round of the tournament. Our God Wind Academy is counting on you to help us get the highest score in this round, and pull the gap between us and the other academies. Deacon Lu, isn't there still a few days until the semifinals? Ning Cheng opened the restriction and found that Lu Xian had personally come over, and immediately asked with some doubts. Chapter 107. Today was the day of the tournament of the 5-star academies. Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei had already checked out of their rooms, and headed towards the Moze Grand Plaza. The Moze city was very lively and bustling, although the 2 of them came out early in the morning, but the streets were still filled with people. Ning Cheng, I'm going inside to buy a few clothes. Ji Luofei said as she pointed to a women's clothing shop not far from them. Ning Cheng looked at the women's clothing shop, and immediately said, okay, you go ahead, I'll wait for you here. Ji Luofei and him lived together in the rest stop. In order to avoid some unnecessary things, they had never come out of the rest stop. Now that they came out, it was only right for them to buy a few clothes to wear. Standing outside the clothing shop, Ning Cheng looked around. Since he had obtained the foundation of alchemy, he had always wanted to buy a pill furnace, but he had never gone out. He wanted to see if there was an artifact shop around. If there was, then when Ji Luo Fei came out, they could go together. Ning Cheng did not see an artifact shop, but he saw a bald cultivator at true condensation 3rd level. The reason why he was paying attention to this cultivator was because his spiritual consciousness could feel that this bald cultivator was wearing a jade bracelet on his wrist. This jade bracelet had a familiar aura. When Ning Cheng felt this aura, he immediately remembered the imperial jade seal that he had obtained. The jade bracelet and the imperial jade seal had the same aura, that is to say, these two things came from the same place. Ning Cheng was moved in his heart, and immediately followed. He did not recklessly ask where the jade bracelet on the bald cultivator's wrist came from. He felt that this bald cultivator was very strange, which made Ning Cheng feel extremely uncomfortable. The bald cultivator walked along the way, and from time to time inquired about the prices of some of the stalls on the side of the road. Just when Ning Cheng made up his mind to ask about it, he suddenly heard a loud noise. Ning Cheng turned around and saw Ji Luo Fei being cornered in the corner of the street. Not only was the veil on her face missing, but there were also a few bloodstains on her face. Ning Cheng's anger immediately rushed up. He no longer cared about tracking the bald cultivator's jade bracelet, and immediately rushed towards Ji Luo Fei's side. When Ning Cheng turned around and rushed towards Ji Luo Fei, that bald cultivator unexpectedly looked back at Ning Cheng, while frowning. Then, he looked at the jade bracelet in his hand and revealed a cold smile. He turned around and squeezed into the crowd, disappearing in an instant. Ugly slut, rejecting elder brother, you is only a matter of your eyes being blind, but you actually dare to proclaim that elder brother you is not worthy of you. Today I, your father, want to see how arrogant this slut is. A man in his 20s, at the Qi Gathering 9th level with thin eyes spoke out, as he grabbed Ji Luo Fei's clothes with one hand. It was obvious that he wanted to tear Ji Luo Fei's clothes apart. There were many onlookers around, but none of them stepped forward to persuade him. They were all watching the show. Some people didn't even dare to step forward and just watched from afar. Ning Cheng had already arrived at the side of the Qi Gathering Realm cultivator, as he raised his hand and punched out. Ka! A bloody mist sprayed out. This Qi Gathering 9th level narrow-eyed man's arm that was trying to grab Ji Luo Fei was unexpectedly turned into a bloody mist by Ning Cheng. This man at the Qi Gathering 9th level issued a mournful scream. Not waiting for him to react, Ning Cheng raised his hand and slapped him a few times in the face. Pa 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 pa. This Qi Gathering 9th level narrow-eyed man's face and teeth were all smashed by Ning Cheng's slaps, as his blood splashed all over his body. Young Master gone. A late-stage Qi Gathering Realm cultivator, who was dressed as a servant, quickly came forward to help the narrow-eyed man up. After calling out to young Master Gon, he immediately pointed his finger at Ning Cheng's nose and shouted, "You dare to touch young Master Gon, you. Perhaps he was too angry, to the point that he couldn't even speak a complete sentence. Ning Cheng immediately kicked out with his foot, directly sending the servant who was pointing at him flying with a kick. Then he didn't even bother to look at the two guys, and stepped forward to support Ji Luo Fei. Ji Luo Fei's eyes were filled with worry as she looked at Ning Cheng and said, "I'm fine. That person was Shui Yu's cousin from the Shui clan, called Shui Fenggan. When he saw me a moment ago, he immediately wanted to take me away. He said that I was slandering his cousin Shui Yu outside, and I refused to go with him, so he immediately started to beat me. The elder brother next to me saw me being beaten, and begged for mercy from the side. Shui Fenggan immediately killed him, and even used a fireball to burn him to ashes on the spot." Saying that, Ji Luo Fei's eyes turned red. This was a person she did not know, but this person actually died for her. Ning Cheng then noticed that there was a pile of ashes not far from Ji Luo Fei. His heart was immediately filled with a strong killing intent. He came from Earth, and the concept of respect between mortals and cultivators was still relatively weak. He looked back and saw the servant that he had kicked flying was supporting Shui Fenggan to leave. Apparently he knew that continuing to stay here would not be good for him. Ning Cheng took out a jade box, and raised his hand to put away the ashes on the ground, while at the same time he once again blocked the path of Shui Fenggan and said, "Do you want to leave?" "What do you want?" "I am a person from the Shui clan." Shui Fenggan's teeth were all knocked out by Ning Cheng, his face was badly mutilated, and even his words were unclear, but the people around him were able to understand the meaning behind his words. "Are the people from the Shui clan that great?" Ning Cheng sarcastically said. The servant with the cultivation of Qi-gathering realm said, "If you dare to make a move on us, then you will never be able to leave the Moze city." "I do not dare to make a move on you." Ning Cheng once again spoke with disdain. Shui Fenggan and the servant did not even have the time to breathe a sigh of relief, when two wind edges chopped towards them. "I only dare to kill you." Puff puff. Two blood sprayed out. Shui Fenggan and the servant beside him were killed by Ning Cheng's two wind edges. All the people around them were shocked. No one could have thought that there would be someone who would dare to kill the people from the Shui clan in the Moze city. Moreover, he even dared to kill them in such an arrogant manner. After Ning Cheng killed Shui Fenggan, he knew that he could not stay here for long. He had to return to the God Wind Academy as soon as possible, only then would he be able to guarantee his safety. So after Ning Cheng killed the two people from the Shui clan, he immediately took Ji Luofei and quickly left. It was not until Ning Cheng was far away that people started to talk about it. The other people knew that the people from the Shui clan would soon come here, as such they did not dare to talk about Shui Fenggan's corpse. "I remember, that man from a moment ago seemed to be Ning Shaocheng." "That's right, he joined the God Wind Academy, and is now a core disciple of the God Wind Academy." No wonder he was not afraid of the Shui clan, he turned out to be a core disciple of the God Wind Academy. Some of the people in the crowd had already recognized Ning Cheng. Even if he was a core disciple of the God Wind Academy, killing the people from the Shui clan, I estimate that it would still be enough. Someone whispered from the side. Although there were a lot of discussions, but no one dared to say anything wrong with the disciples of the Shui clan. When Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei arrived at the Moze Grand Plaza, the number of people here was even more than the number of people who had participated in the written exam. Although today was not the day when the disciples of the 5-star academies would be selected, but it was the more important tournament of the 5-star academies. The Hua continent wanted to select a 6-star academy to rule over the entire low-class continent, because the Angry Axe Valley was opened in advance. The tournament of the 5-star academies was also held in advance. Most of the people were clear. The reason why the tournament of the 5-star academies was held in advance was mainly because the 6-star academy was about to be selected. Since the Angry Axe Valley was opened in advance, then the quota to enter the Angry Axe Valley must be selected first. The quota for the 6-star academies to enter the Angry Axe Valley was the most, and the resources that they would obtain in the future would also be the most. First to select a 6-star academy, then with the cooperation of the resources in the Angry Axe Valley, this 6-star academy would slowly overtake the rest of the 5-star academies, and finally become the leader of the entire low-class continent. After the two of them arrived at the Moze Grand Plaza, Ji Luofei was still very worried. She had stayed in the Moze city for a longer time than Ning Cheng, and knew that the power of the Shui clan was very strong. Now that Ning Cheng had killed the people from the Shui clan, she was worried that the Shui clan would retaliate against Ning Cheng by hook or by crook. "Luofei, you don't have to worry. The Shui clan would not go so far as to fall out with the God Wind Academy just because of a trivial Qi-gathering cultivator." Lu Xian had said that he was not afraid of the Shui clan, so why should he be afraid? Even if the God Wind Academy does not expect us to help them in the tournament, we are still the disciples of the God Wind Academy. The God Wind Academy will not just sit back and do nothing. As long as this matter is reasonable, after the tournament of the 5-star academies, we can go to the God Wind Academy, and we will not be afraid of the revenge of the Shui clan. Even if the Shui clan is powerful, would they be able to break into the God Wind Academy? Not to mention that Ning Qing knew that he would be fine even if he killed Shui Fenggan. The Moze city was still in the midst of the 5-star tournament. The Shui clan would absolutely not dare to cause trouble for the God Wind Academy at this time. If the Shui clan really wanted to cause trouble, then it would be exactly what Ning Qing wanted. He was sure that the powerhouses from the intermediate class continents would not allow such a thing to happen. Once it happened, the Shui clan would most likely be removed from the Moze city. Even if Ning Qing knew that he had killed the people from the Shui clan, he would not hesitate to kill this guy, and then escape to the Thunder Fall Desert with Ji Luofei. Ji Luofei was being bullied in front of him. How could he bear it? He did not go to the Shui clan to settle accounts. That was because his strength was not enough. If his strength was strong enough, after he killed Shui Fenggan, he would have even gone to the Shui clan to ask for compensation. He had lived with his younger sister Ning Ruolan since childhood, and had been bullied many times. But Ning Qing would always desperately fight back. He was very clear about the truth. If he was bullied once and did not speak up, then the second time he would be bullied even more severely. So he had never been a person who would swallow his anger. If anyone dared to bully him and his younger sister, he would fight back with all his might. Ji Luofei was worried, but she was not worried about herself. She was worried about Ning Qing. Being together with Ning Qing made her feel completely happy. She did not want any accident to happen to Ning Qing. If she was worried about herself, then she would not have killed Xian Yuan Kuei in the Zhanglu city to vent Ning Qing's anger. Chapter 108. When Ning Qing arrived at the God Wind Academy station with Ji Luofei, Lu Xian quickly came up to greet them. As a deacon with the cultivation of profound congealing realm, even if Ning Qing was a core disciple of the God Wind Academy, Lu Xian's attitude towards Ning Qing could be considered as polite. What made Ning Qing feel strange was that he unexpectedly did not see Zhu Mu'er. Just when Ning Qing was about to ask Zhu Mu'er about it, suddenly a crisp and decisive voice sounded out from the side, "Deacon Lu, I want to represent the God Wind Academy in the 5-star tournament." Ning Qing saw that the one who spoke was a female cultivator at true condensation 6th level, with a dark complexion. However, her appearance was very pretty, and she was even more beautiful than Zhu Mu'er. When Lu Xian saw the female cultivator who spoke, he gave a wry smile and spoke, "Meng Jingxiu, in the first round of the tournament, we have Ning Qing as our point." Hearing the name Meng Jingxiu, Ning Qing immediately knew who the other party was. Meng Jingxiu was the 7th person in the preliminary written exam, and was also the person with the highest score in the God Wind Academy before he joined the God Wind Academy. "Deacon Lu, this isn't a competition of spiritual roots. My spirit root is indeed slightly inferior, but even in the first round of the written exam, I won't necessarily lose to him. At the very least, my 71 points are completely based on my own memory. I haven't even seen any talisman foundation before." As Meng Jingxiu spoke till here, she deliberately glanced at Ning Qing, and then continued, "Even if I do not score in the first round of the written examination, I can still show good results in the second and third rounds. I'm confident that I won't be inferior to anyone in terms of comprehension or combat. Deacon Lu, you are a profound congealing senior, so you should know that my true essence is much stronger than the average true condensation 6th level cultivators." Ning Qing was simply too lazy to reply. In his heart he really admired this Meng Jingxiu. This woman's purpose of joining the God Wind Academy should be similar to his own. The strength of the God Wind Academy was the worst. If he did not join, then this Meng Jingxiu would certainly represent the God Wind Academy in the tournament of the 5-star academies. Now that he participated, he directly squeezed out Meng Jingxiu's spot. For Meng Jingxiu to participate in the God Wind Academy's tournament, there was only one purpose, and that was to enter the Angry Axe Valley. This is a woman with a lot of ideas. Moreover, she was not even 30 years old. Moreover, she did not have a pure spiritual root, yet she was able to cultivate to the true condensation 6th level, which meant that she was definitely not an ordinary person. Although Ji Luofei was very dissatisfied with Meng Jingxiu saying that Ning Qing was not as good as her, but she did not like to bicker with others over such a boring matter. As such, she just frowned and no longer spoke. In her heart, she was still worried about the Shui family. Lu Xian was also in a very difficult situation. He knew that Meng Jingxiu had joined the God Wind Academy in order to enter the Angry Axe Valley. If Meng Jingxiu did not even have the qualifications to participate in the tournament, then with her qualifications, she absolutely would not be able to obtain a quota to enter the Angry Axe Valley. Even if the God Wind Academy took the first place, she would not be able to obtain the quota. At this time, a middle-aged woman arrived beside Lu Xian, took out a letter, and handed it to Lu Xian. After Lu Xian opened the letter and read it, he secretly sighed. He put away the letter, and said to Meng Jingxiu, "In that case, you can also count as one. Ning Cheng, your cultivation is the lowest. As long as you participate in the first 2 rounds, the third round will be mainly scored by Chu Yong Xian, Gu Hong and Min Rui. The second round will be scored by Meng Jingxiu." As long as Meng Jingxiu could participate, she did not care about the other people who participated. She believed in her own ability, and was absolutely not worse than the others. The quota to enter the Angry Axe Valley was very difficult. Even if it was difficult, she still had to work hard. Ning Cheng also did not say anything. After Lu Xian confirmed the 5 people, Ning Cheng pulled Lu Xian to the side and said, "Deacon Lu, I had a small conflict with the people from the Shui clan this morning. During the course of the tournament, I will ask Deacon Lu to help me look after Ji Luofei." Lu Xian knew that the relationship between Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei was not shallow. If their relationship was ordinary, then the 2 of them would not have stayed in the same room. Now that he heard Ning Cheng's words, he immediately laughed and said, "You can rest assured, Luofei is also a disciple of my God Wind Academy, although my God Wind Academy is at the bottom of the 5-star academies, but we are not afraid of a clan." "That's right, what kind of conflict did you have in the morning?" Ning Cheng gave an awkward smile and said, "I killed a disciple of the Shui clan in the morning. He dared to bully Luofei, so I was a bit heavy." "Ah." Lu Xian suddenly felt a bitter taste in his mouth. This was called a small conflict. He had already killed a person from the Shui clan. It would be strange if the Shui clan would let it go. "You can tell me what happened, so that I can be prepared." After knowing that Ning Cheng had killed a person from the Shui clan, Lu Xian also became cautious. In case the Shui clan came looking for trouble, he would not be passive. Ning Cheng did not conceal anything, and completely told him about Ji Luofei's matter. After Lu Xian listened to Ning Cheng's words, he felt relieved and said, "Since your side is in the right, then during the tournament, the Shui clan will not come. After the tournament, we will have to return to the God Wind Academy, and the Shui clan will also not come. But you and Luofei will have to be careful when you go out. The Shui clan will not be so easy to talk to." "I understand, Deacon Lu can rest assured, I am not a person who is easy to talk to." Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. At the entrance of the Tsangqin Academy, when he was facing Gu Yiming, whose cultivation level was much higher than his, he dared to slap Gu Fei. Now that his cultivation level had risen by countless times, how could his courage become smaller? Lu Xian silently shook his head and said, "I knew that you are not a person who is easy to talk to." A person who was easy to talk to absolutely would not be able to obtain the first place in the preliminary round, and in the process of choosing a 5-star academy, he even borrowed a few knives to kill people. The sound tablet on the Moz Grand Plaza suddenly sounded out. The first round of the Hua Continent's 5-star academy tournament is about to begin. Each of the 5-star academies, please send 2 representatives to the main altar in the center of the plaza, and all the cultivators who are watching the match, please stand outside the competition area, and quietly wait for the results of the match. If anyone obstructs the competition, they will be killed. In the middle of the plaza, there was an incomparably huge main altar, and in the middle of the main altar sat a man. When Ning Cheng's gaze fell on this man, he immediately felt an inexplicable majesty. He did not even dare to continue to look at this man, not to mention trying to estimate the other party's cultivation level. Nevertheless, Ning Cheng was sure that this man's cultivation level was not as high as that of the white-haired old woman. He guessed that this man should have come from an intermediate-class continent to preside over the selection of the 6-star academies. On both sides of the majestic man's seat, there were 3 people sitting on each side. Looking at the table in front of the 6 people, it should be the judges of the tournament. Below these 7 people were the placards of the 5 5-star academies. Each of the 5-star academies had 2 representatives sitting on them. The God-Wind 5-star academy had 2 representatives. In addition to Deacon Lu Xian, there was also a woman with the cultivation of essence building realm. In front of the main altar was an incomparably huge square platform. Ning Cheng looked at the surroundings of the square platform, and immediately knew that there were many restrictions. As for the rest of the cultivators who were watching the tournament of the 5-star academies, they could only stand on the periphery of the square platform and the main altar. In addition to that, all the people could see that there were 4 huge array formation projection screens. According to the convention, everyone understood that these 4 array formation projection screens should display the results of the first 3 rounds of the tournament and the final ranking of the 5 5-star academies. The voice of the sound tablet once again sounded out. I invite the 25 participants to enter the square platform, and sit in any of the seats, and prepare for the first round of the tournament. It was not until this time that all the people in the plaza knew that the first round of the memory competition would be carried out in full view of the public. As the voice of the sound tablet resounded out, the square platform suddenly had 25 seats, and each seat had a small table in front of it. Just like in the 5th written exam that Ning Cheng had participated in before, the 25 tables had 2 pieces of white paper and a pen. Chapter 109. After Ning Cheng handed over the spear to Ji Luofei, he followed the other 4 people from the God-Wind Academy to the square platform in front of the main altar. In addition to him and Meng Jingxiu from the God-Wind Academy, there were also 3 other people. Gu Hong had a tall stature, and was incomparably robust, with the cultivation of true condensation 8th level. Chu Yong Xian was the person with the highest cultivation in the God-Wind Academy, true condensation 9th level. Min Rui looked the thinnest of the 5, and his cultivation level was only at true condensation 7th level. He did not know why he was placed among the 5 people. Ning Cheng guessed that the God-Wind Academy really did not have any outstanding talents. What made Ning Cheng surprised was that out of the 5 people from the Falling Star Academy, he unexpectedly knew 3 of them. Meng Yujing was the woman that Ning Cheng was looking for, and had the cultivation of true condensation 7th level. At this moment, there was no veil on her face, revealing an extremely beautiful face. No wonder she was known as the most beautiful girl in the Falling Star Academy. Ning Cheng estimated that even in the entire Moze city, there was no one more beautiful than her. Following closely behind Meng Yujing was a young girl. This young girl was also staring at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng nodded to her, but the girl frowned and turned her head away. Ning Cheng did not think that the Falling Star Academy would send Yu Ying to the stage for the first round of the tournament. Yu Ying's cultivation level was only at the Qi Gathering 6th level, as such she could only participate in the first or second round of the tournament. But thinking that Yu Ying was at the Qi Gathering 6th level, Ning Cheng's heart jumped. Wasn't this speed too fast? When he had first met Yu Ying had not yet started cultivating, yet in a blink of an eye she had already reached the Qi Gathering 6th level. One had to know that he was only able to reach the cultivation of true condensation 3rd level because of a variety of fortuitous encounters. When Yu Ying came to the Falling Star Academy, she already had such a powerful explosive force, it was truly terrifying. Moreover, as this young girl's cultivation grew higher and higher, it revealed that her stunning appearance was not inferior to Meng Yujing's. The 3rd person from the Falling Star Academy that Ning Cheng recognized turned out to be Shui Yu, who had jumped down from the restaurant wearing a white robe. This Shui Yu only had the cultivation of true condensation 7th level. Moreover, it seemed that he had just advanced to this level not too long ago. He was a member of the Shui clan. How could he represent the Falling Star Academy in the tournament? When Ning Cheng looked at Shui Yu also glanced at Ning Cheng, and a murderous intent flashed through his eyes. Apparently, he already knew who Ning Cheng was. As for the rest of the people, other than Leng Yiyang, Ning Cheng did not know any of them. Moreover, he also did not have any interest in getting to know them. He knew that since he was chosen to participate in the fight between the 5-star academies on this square platform, then there must be something extraordinary about it. Ning Cheng casually found a seat and sat down, but immediately found that his spiritual sense was completely imprisoned. Just like before, he couldn't use his spiritual will. The dignified man sitting in the middle of the main altar stood up. At the same time, he flew and landed on the square platform where the 25 examinees were seated. He glanced at the 25 candidates sitting on the square platform, and said in a slow voice, "Those who are able to sit on the platform for the first round of the written exam should be the elites of the Hua continent. The first round of the competition only lasts for the time it takes to burn an incense stick." Ning Cheng had thought that since this was the tournament between the 5-star academies, the first round of the tournament would definitely be very long, at least it would be longer than the 5th round that he had participated in. Who would have thought that it would only take an incense stick's time? This was too short. An incense stick's time was equivalent to 30 minutes here. If he had to look at the questions in half an hour, how could he proceed with the written test? Not only Ning Cheng, but the rest of the examinees were also puzzled as they looked at the dignified man who was presiding over the first round of the tournament. They did not understand why the time was so short. The man simply did not care about the reactions of the 25 people on the platform, and directly took out an ancient leather scroll and said, "The content of the first round of the examination is on this leather scroll in my hands. In a moment I will personally open this leather scroll. You will have the time it takes for an incense stick to burn to look at the questions. And then after the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, you have to answer the questions." Was it that simple? Ning Cheng could not believe it. The leather scroll in the man's hands, even if it was opened, it would at most be 3 feet long and a foot wide. To ensure that they could clearly read the words written on it, the handwriting would certainly not be too small. How much content would it contain? All the people suddenly came to understand. No wonder it only took the time it took for an incense stick to burn. It seems that the first round of the tournament was just a mere formality. At this time the man had already opened the leather scroll. A trace of vicissitudes of life washed over them. The 25 people on the platform immediately stared at the leather scroll in the man's hands. The words written on the leather scroll were not very big, but they were also not very small. Everyone here were cultivators, so they could still clearly see the words written on the leather scroll. Ning Cheng estimated that the number of words written on the leather scroll was at most a few thousand. It was not a challenge for him at all. But the next moment Ning Cheng felt that something was wrong. The words written on the leather scroll did not have any connection to each other. It simply could not form any sentence or meaning. The difference between each word was like heaven and earth. It was like a bull's head and a horse's mouth were connected together. Ning Cheng reacted quickly. Almost at the same time he reacted, this leather scroll did not seem to be simple at all. He did not dare to have any other thoughts, and directly concentrated his mind on memorizing the contents of the leather scroll. Ning Cheng's formidable memory ability was undoubtedly highlighted at this time. His thoughts turned in the first second, and in the last 2 seconds, he had already completely memorized the contents of the leather scroll. Just as Ning Cheng breathed a sigh of relief, he suddenly discovered that the content of the leather scroll was completely different from before. He subconsciously opened his eyes wide. This time he could clearly see that it was indeed different from before. Moreover, there was not even a single word that was the same. Sure enough, it was not simple. Ning Cheng did not dare to let his imagination run wild, and once again concentrated his mind on memorizing the contents of the second scroll. After a few seconds, the content of the second scroll disappeared, and was replaced by a third scroll with a completely different content. It was the same content composed of some completely unrelated words, without any connection at all. Ning Cheng already knew that it was not simple. As such, the changes in the contents of the leather scroll were not strange at all. His mind was completely immersed in the contents of the leather scroll. Later on, he even forgot that he was still participating in the first round of the tournament. He seemed to be able to see a picture in the different content, and even saw a note in the picture. Good, the questions will end here. An abrupt voice interrupted the various pictures in Ning Cheng's mind. Ning Cheng subconsciously quivered. He knew that the time it took for an incense stick to burn had already arrived. The one who spoke was the dignified-looking man, and he had already put away the leather scroll in his hands. Ning Cheng's heart was in a state of turmoil. In his mind there were hundreds of different grand pictures. There were also the contents of the hundreds of leather scrolls, although these contents seemed different, but they actually hid such a profound mystery within them. Thinking back to the vicissitudes of life that this leather scroll was exuding, Ning Cheng was sure that the contents of this leather scroll was either a very extraordinary cultivation method, or a magical technique. He even had a kind of intuition, that once these pictures were completely mixed together, it would definitely reveal a great secret. At this time, Ning Cheng finally understood why this person wanted to show them this leather scroll. This leather scroll only had one side, and only by looking at it with one's own eyes, would one be able to understand the mystery within it. This intermediate class continent was really broad-minded. They even took out this kind of awesome thing as an exam question, so that the examinees could benefit from it. Ning Cheng suddenly felt that something was wrong. This first round of the tournament had countless kinds of questions. Why would they take out this kind of leather scroll? At this time, Ning Cheng heard the nearby examinees talking. Do you feel that the content of this leather scroll is changing? It can't be. I only saw one side of the content, although it was very difficult, but in the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, I was able to remember a lot of it. There are changes, moreover there are 3 kinds of changes. I did not remember all of them. What made Ning Cheng surprised was that the dignified-looking old man did not forbid the discussion below, and waited for the people below to discuss for a while, before he said, "Good, now start answering the questions." Ning Cheng picked up the pen and paper on the table, and first wrote down his name and the 5-Star Academy. Only then did he discover that there were already 10 questions on the white paper. The first question, is there any change in the content of the leather scroll? If there are any changes, how many changes are there? Ning Cheng frowned. In his mind there were still various kinds of images rolling around. Moreover, he was sure that once he completely understood these things, it would definitely be a very amazing thing. He had already reacted. He did not believe that the people of the intermediate class continent would be so noble, and would be able to share such a good thing. Before he had also heard the people beside him talking about it. Some of them could see several changes, while some of them could not see any changes at all. But he was able to see a total of 600 to 700 changes. Moreover, these changes were constantly derived from his understanding. Can these things even be written down? Maybe the person who took out this leather scroll did not know that there were so many changes. Ning Cheng thought until here, a flame suddenly flashed in his mind, and he suddenly understood. He had always believed that in this world, there was absolutely no such thing as a meat pie falling down from the sky, so the person who took out the leather scroll certainly did not know that there were so many changes. This person took out the leather scroll, and then summoned all the cultivators of the Hua continent who had a strong memory to take the exam, in order to see if anyone could see the changes. This person should have known that this leather scroll was extraordinary, but he himself was not able to crack it. As long as someone was able to crack the changes in this leather scroll, then maybe they would immediately be taken away, and then specifically used to study this leather scroll. Otherwise, why would the 5-Star Academies need to test this kind of insignificant topic? Thinking until here, Ning Cheng did not hesitate to write that there were no changes. Even if he failed in the first round, there were still the next 2 rounds. Then Ning Cheng saw that the second question was, whether there were any changes or not. Write down the 567th word on the first page. This question was not difficult for Ning Cheng. He immediately wrote down the 567th word on the first page. But the following questions from the 3rd to the 10th question, Ning Cheng was dumbfounded. The 3rd question was, if there were any changes, please write down the number of words of the second change. The 4th question was, write down the number of words of the 3rd change. The following questions continued until the 10th question. Ning Cheng sighed, and simply put down the pen. He knew how to answer these questions. He even thought that he could see the changes in the content, but the person who came up with the questions did not know about it. But he did not dare to do the first one, and he did not want to do the second one. This kind of heaven and earth treasure was memorized by him. The thing that he wanted to do the most was to find a quiet place to go into seclusion, and then quietly meditate. After Ning Qing thought about it, he felt that the reason why he was able to perceive so many changes was because of the mysterious yellow origin. If he did not have the mysterious yellow origin, then at most he would just be an ordinary person with a strong memory. Mysterious yellow origin. Ning Qing vaguely felt that he had once again grasped something. Why did the mysterious yellow origin help him see so many changes? The time it takes for an incense stick to burn is up. The man who presided over the tournament once again interrupted Ning Cheng's contemplation, while simultaneously waving his hand. The 25 answer sheets fell into his hands. Everyone knew that the dignified man who presided over the tournament was going to personally mark the papers. Ning Qing really wanted to know the expression of this man after he finished looking at the 25 answer sheets, but he knew that staring at the other party at this time was absolutely not wise. Sure enough, after the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, the man put away the 25 answer sheets, while simultaneously playing several array flags. A moment later, the rankings of the first round of the tournament were displayed on the first array formation projection screen. Chapter 110. Ning Qing knew that he had the mysterious yellow origin, so he was able to perceive the hundreds of changes on the parchment. So for the rest of the people, they could not perceive the changes, or could only perceive 2 or 3 changes. Ning Qing did not find it strange. But when he saw the first name on the huge array formation screen, he was immediately shocked in his heart. The first name unexpectedly had 95 points. Ning Qing could even guess that the question that was not completely answered should be the first question. That is to say, except for the question that was not completely answered, the first name unexpectedly answered all the other questions correctly. As for the mistake in the first question, it was estimated that there was a mistake in saying how many changes there were. But what Ning Qing did not expect was that he knew the first name. It was Yuing from the Falling Star 5-Star Academy. This little girl with the worst cultivation on the stage, unexpectedly got 95 points, and was unquestionably the first. The second name was Leng Yi Yang from the Luohua Academy with 65 points, which was far from the first name. But for him to get the second name, it was not a shame. The third name was Ling Naixin from the Thunder Academy with 55 points, which reflected her results in the preliminary round. The fourth name was unexpectedly Situ Yu from the Clear Sky Academy with 45 points. It stood to reason that Gong Jun from the Clear Sky Academy should have been the one to score in the first round, but the result was that his score was only 15 points. The real surprise was Ning Cheng from the God Wind Academy. Ning Cheng obtained 100 points in the first round. But in the first round of the 5-Star Academies, he unexpectedly only obtained 10 points. Instead it was Meng Jing Xiu who represented the God Wind Academy who obtained 25 points. When the rankings came out, whether it was the representatives of the 5-Star Academies, or the onlookers, all of them were in an uproar. The God Wind Academy's most favored Ning Xiaocheng unexpectedly only obtained 10 points. This score was really shameful. Fortunately, Ning Cheng's score was not the lowest. There were even people who only obtained 5 points. That Ning Xiaocheng is not worthy of his name. He unexpectedly only obtained 10 points. This time the God Wind Academy really suffered a big loss. He must have seen the questions in the preliminary round before, otherwise he would not have been able to obtain 100 points. Luck can only happen once. How can someone be so lucky every time? After all, they are selected by the small academies. Don't you think that Gong Jun, who represents the Clear Sky Academy, is different? Previously, he scored 76 points in the preliminary exam, but in the end, he only scored 15 points in the actual competition. That's true, plus that Yuan Liang from the Falling Star Academy also did not have a good result. In this first round of the competition, only Leng Yi Yang and Ling Naixin had good results in the preliminary round. The rest of the people were all screwed up. Who are Leng Yi Yang and Ling Naixin? He had a pure spiritual root, and was a core disciple of a 5-Star Academy. The difference between those rogue cultivators and those with pure spiritual roots is obvious. After the results of the first round of the competition came out, the spectators were discussing it. The Clear Sky Academy was better off. After all, Situ Yu still stood up. But the God Wind Academy suffered a Waterloo. The highest score was only Meng Jingxiu, who got 25 points. On the main altar, Lu Xian also had a disappointed look on his face. He had never thought that Ning Cheng, whom he had gone through untold hardships to find, would not be able to bring him the results he deserved. Luohua Academy's Qing Qingxian suddenly smiled and spoke to Lu Xian, elder brother Lu. It seems that only true fire can be used to refine true gold. The God Wind Academy this time, alas, everyone knew that Qing Qingxian was ridiculing Lu Xian for snatching Ning City. Not to mention that they had to pay a lot of resources, but now they also had to bear the consequences. Fortunately, he did not know that Ning Cheng and the Shui clan had fallen out, and brought another enemy to the God Wind Academy. Hey, elder brother Lu has great foresight, let that Ning Shaoqing go up, maybe in the third round of the competition he would be able to determine the heaven and earth. After all, fighting is the most important point. The profound congealing elder from the Falling Star Academy ridiculed in a very proud tone. He had a reason to be proud. After the first round of the competition, the Falling Star Academy was ranked first with a total of 170 points. The Luohua Academy was ranked second with 120 points, the Thunder Academy was ranked third with 108 points, and the Clear Sky Academy was ranked fourth with 105 points. But the God Wind Academy, who was favored to shorten their score in the first round, not only did they not shorten their score, but the gap between them was even wider. With only 66 points, they were ranked at the bottom. Lu Xian was not in a good mood. Now that he was ridiculed one after another, his face turned livid with anger. Even so, he did not have any way to refute it. Ji Luofei, who was standing at the God Wind Academy's station, bit her lips. She simply did not care about the ridiculing eyes of the rest of the God Wind Academy's disciples. She was worried about Ning Cheng. She believed that there was definitely a reason why Ning Cheng was able to obtain a score of 10 points in the first round, but unfortunately, she could not go up and ask Ning Cheng. Luofei. A slightly hoarse voice sounded out from beside Ji Luofei. Auntie. Ji Luofei turned around and saw Ji Yaohe, and subconsciously called out. Then she saw the two women standing behind Ji Yaohe. Looking at their robes, they should be the new students of the Falling Star Academy. Luofei, hurry up and come with me to the Shui clan, and then agree to the marriage with Shui Yu. Ji Yaohe's words had not yet finished, when she was interrupted by Ji Luofei. Auntie, if you continue to speak such words in the future, then we will no longer have any relationship. Luofei, what are you talking about? Who told you to speak to your auntie like that? Ning Cheng killed Shui Fenggan of the Shui clan. It is simply a dead end for him. He would not even be able to pass the third round of the competition, yet you are still so stubborn. Do you want to die? Ji Yaohe's complexion changed. Ji Luofei plainly said, if you are my auntie, then do not let me, a fiancé, remarry. If you continue to speak such words, then we are no longer relatives. Ji Yaohe's complexion turned pale. She knew that her niece had a strong temperament, but she did not think that she would be so unreasonable. Fortunately, she knew that this was the God Wind encampment. Even if she was angry, she still forced herself to calm down. Luofei, do you know what kind of person Ning Cheng is? You see, he only scored 10 points in the first round. This is his real level. Before in the preliminary round, it was because he got the answer. Of course, this is not important. The important thing is, Ning Cheng is simply an extremely dissolute person. When he was in the Clear Heart Academy, he openly slept together with the Clear Heart Academy's Su Zhu. What kind of person Su Zhu is, Lu Shua and Yong Guyun behind me are very clear about it. If you do not believe me, you can ask the two of them. He is simply a man who can marry anyone. Ji Luofei, who had been enduring until now, finally could not bear it anymore. She suddenly shouted, Ji Yaohe, why do you want to go against Ning Cheng? I want to be together with him. One by one you come here to slander him. In the end, what is the meaning of this? You leave, I never want to see you again. Me and Ning Cheng, it is our own affair, it has nothing to do with other people. Thinking of how many years she had spent alone, she had finally found her aunt and mother, but her aunt and mother had come here one by one to deceive her, and wanted her to leave Ningcheng. Ji Luofei's heart was filled with endless pain. Her aunt Ji Yao he once again came here and spoke those words. It made Ji Luofei's anger and the sadness that she had accumulated for the past few days to reach a critical point. She finally could not help but burst out. Hearing Luofei directly call her Ji Yao Ji pointed at Ji Luofei with her hand trembling. In the end, this Ji Luofei, what kind of devil was this? Why was she so irrational? Although Ning Cheng's results in the first round of the tournament were not good, but Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei were still students of the God Wind Academy. An essence-building cultivator from the God Wind Academy came over and said to Ji Yao He, "The few of you, please do not make trouble in my God Wind Academy encampment." Ji Yao He suppressed her anger, and angrily left with Lu Shui and Yong Gu Yun. She decided to ignore Ji Luofei. Her final ending was her own fault, no one could blame her. Standing on the square platform, the dignified man presiding over the tournament waited for the results of the first round of the tournament to come out, and then once again spoke. "Now we will proceed to the second round of the tournament. The 25 participants, now write down your understanding of the contents of the leather scroll that you saw in the first round of the tournament, or write down your understanding of the contents of the leather scroll, the time it takes to burn an incense stick." Ning Cheng's heart was getting clearer. It really was like this. The first 2 rounds of the exam were absolutely to see if there was anyone who could really understand and comprehend the contents of the leather scroll. Once there was such a person, then perhaps they would immediately be taken away. Regardless of whether the outcome of being taken away was good or bad, Ning Cheng did not want to be the one to stand out. He still had a lot of things to do. How could he be taken away like this? All the people began to write down their own understanding of the contents of the leather scroll. Ning Cheng was also writing. He just wrote that the contents of the leather scroll had nothing to do with it, and then did not write anything else. Then he began to continue to feel the images that he had seen through the contents of the leather scroll. The feeling was getting more and more clear. This time Ning Cheng did not wait for the other party to interrupt him. Before the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, he took the initiative to stop his own understanding of the contents of the leather scroll. The second round of the tournament was even more rushed than the first round. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng and the other 25 participants came down from the square platform, while at the same time the results of the second round came out. In the second round of the tournament, Ning Cheng's score was even lower. It was only a pitiful 1 point. In other words, he had obtained 11 points in the first 2 rounds. The highest score in the second round of the tournament was still Yuing. She had obtained 51 points. This time Ning Cheng specifically paid attention to this girl called Yuing. He knew that if it was really about the comprehension of the second round, then Yuing might not even be able to get 5 points. He guessed that the man who was presiding over the tournament had deliberately raised the score. But even if that was the case, Yuing was definitely not ordinary. Unfortunately, this Yuing was not as experienced as him. Maybe she would be caught and used as a laborer. The third round is the Great Duel Tournament. The tournament will now begin. When the scores of the second round appeared on the array projection screen, the man who was presiding over the tournament also announced the start of the third round of the tournament. Saying that, as if there was nothing else for him to do, he took a step back to his seat, then closed his eyes, and no longer spoke. Chapter 111. After the results of the second round came out, the Falling Star Academy was ranked first with 221 points, while the Luohua Academy was ranked second with 155 points. The Thunder Academy was ranked third with 138 points, the Clear Sky Academy was ranked fourth with 130 points, while the God Wind Academy was far behind with 76 points. The dignified man who presided over the first and second rounds announced the start of the third round, and no longer spoke. At this time an old man who was sitting below him walked to the front of the main altar, and spoke in a clear voice. The third round is the competition of the strength of the 5 academies. This is also the best place to measure the strength of each academy. So the third round is also the one with the most points, with a total of 250 points. As for how many points each academy can get, it all depends on their own ability. When Ning Cheng heard this, he thought to himself, sure enough, the first 2 rounds of the tournament were definitely not the deciding factor. Perhaps the first 2 rounds were deliberately added by the person who could not solve the leather scroll, so the time was short, and the score was low. The real deciding factor for which academy would become a 6-star academy was the 5th round of the tournament. Ning Cheng. Ji Luofei was a little worried as she greeted him. Her aunt had only made her sad for a while. Her whole mind was focused on Ning Cheng. Lu Xian also came over from the main altar, and patted Ning Cheng's shoulder and said, "You do not have to worry about it, even if you scored 100 points, our score in the 3rd round is still not optimistic. In the 3rd round, you can take a break, and look at the performance of the other senior apprentice brothers, while at the same time learning some actual combat experience." Lu Xian's words made Ning Cheng have a good impression of him. It was reasonable to say that he was a core disciple of the God Wind Academy. Mainly for the first 2 rounds of the tournament, but the fact was that he scored a total of 11 points in the first 2 rounds. Moreover, because this score was too low, it was not taken into account. After comforting Ning Cheng, Lu Xian went to the 3 late-stage true condensation senior apprentice brothers who were going to score in the 3rd round. Although your performance was within my expectations, but you scored 11 points in the first 2 rounds, I am still a little disappointed. Originally I thought that since you wanted to take my spot, then you would definitely score for the God Wind Academy. In fact, I really did not misread you. Meng Jingxiu came over, and looked at Ning Cheng with some disdain as she spoke. Ning Cheng knew that the other party was because he had almost taken away her spot in the tournament. If not for Lu Xian speaking to her, then Meng Jingxiu's hatred towards him would have been even greater. Ning Cheng simply did not take Meng Jingxiu seriously, as he lazily spoke, "You don't seem to be much higher than me. I am not much higher than you, but in the first 2 rounds of the God Wind Academy's 35 points were all obtained by me alone. What's more, my main point is not in the first 2 rounds, as such you would not understand." Meng Jingxiu shook her head towards Ning Cheng, as she spoke with a hint of pride in her tone. Saying that, she turned around and walked away, not intending to wait for Ning Cheng to answer. But Ning Cheng, who was standing behind her, gave a smile and said, "Why do you think the same as me? Did you know that I would also get points in the 3rd round?" When Meng Jingxiu heard Ning Cheng's words, her eyes revealed a trace of ridicule, but she was simply too lazy to answer. At this moment, the old man presiding over the 3rd round spoke again. "Now, let me explain the rules of the 3rd round. The 3rd round is not limited to opponents, nor is it limited to the number of battles. Even 2 participants from the same academy can fight." This explanation was something that even Ning Cheng could not understand. Since it was a competition between the academies, then of course it would be a fight between the contestants from the other academies. How could it be a fight between people from the same academy? The audience below were also in an uproar. It was obvious that they did not understand why this rule was set. When the old man saw that everyone was in an uproar, he immediately used his hand to calm them down, and at the same time raised his voice and said, "Quiet down, let me continue to explain the rules." The old man came from an intermediate class continent, so his words still carried a lot of weight. After his words came out, the audience immediately quieted down. The old man presiding over the competition continued to speak in a clear voice. "Before the 3rd round of the tournament, each of the 25 contestants will carry 10 points, adding up to a total of 250 points, that is to say, each academy will have a total of 50 points. The 2 people who come on stage to fight must carry points. The points of the loser will be added to the winner. For example, if Zhang San and Li Si come on stage to fight, both of them will carry 10 points. If Zhang San wins, then Zhang San's points will become 20 points, while Li Si will not have any points. People who do not have points are not allowed to come on stage. If Wang Wu carries 10 points and challenges Zhang San, and Zhang San loses, then all the points on Zhang San's body will become Wang Wu's. Wang Wu would then have 30 points, while Zhang San would not have any points. The old man's explanation was very clear, and all the people understood. This really was the most direct way to grab points, and was also the most intuitive method. But in this way, wouldn't it mean that the person with the highest cultivation would end up with all 250 points? But thinking that there was only one 6-star academy, this did not seem to be contradictory. The old man continued, if one of the two people from the academy has a slightly lower cultivation, and does not want to participate in the tournament, then they can give their points to the person from the same academy who has a higher cultivation level. The person who took out the points is not allowed to continue to come on stage to challenge others, and the others are also not allowed to challenge those who do not have points. In addition, each person has 3 chances to challenge, and each person can only be challenged 3 times. Remember, if it is a challenge between the same academy, no matter how many times you are challenged, it will only count as one challenge. These are the rules of the tournament. If anyone has any questions, then you can ask them. Excuse me, if a disciple from your academy loses, but after stepping down from the stage, another disciple gives his points to him, can he still continue to come on stage to challenge? The one who asked this question was the God Wind Academy's Lu Xian. The others knew the meaning behind Lu Xian's words. The God Wind Academy had very few experts in the tournament. He was afraid that if the most powerful disciple lost, then he would not have the opportunity to rebound. No. This time the old man's answer was extremely simple. Excuse me, if in the case of a mistake in the tournament, and you kill your opponent, then what? The one who asked this question was unexpectedly Shui Yu from the Shui clan. When Ning Qing heard Shui Yu's words, he immediately knew that this guy was looking at him with a killing intent in his eyes, and wanted to kill him first. The old man coldly looked at Shui Yu, and said with an expressionless face, if you are afraid of death, then give your points to the people from your academy as soon as possible. After the old man finished speaking, he waited for a moment, and then spoke in a loud and clear voice, the 3rd round of the tournament will now begin. The people who come on stage must first inform their opponents of the points that they have brought with them. The old man who was presiding over the 3rd round of the tournament had already retired, and the square platform in the middle of the square was also surrounded by a strong restriction, but no one came on stage. It seemed that no one wanted to be the first bird to stand out. The people in the square were also not anxious. Everyone knew that this was just the calm before the battle. Once the fight started, it would not be calm for even half a moment. The people on the main altar were also not anxious. It seemed that they knew that there would always be someone who would eat the crab first. At this time on the huge 3rd array formation projection screen, 25 people's names appeared. Each person's name was marked with 10 points. Although the 25 people appeared on the array formation projection screen, but everyone was very clear that under these rules, only those 10 people would be able to come on stage, and not all of them would be able to come on stage. Ning Qing, give your points to me. Your cultivation is too low. If you keep it in your hands, then it would be taken away by someone else. Meng Jingxiu had thought that she would never speak to Ning Qing again, but when she heard the rules of the tournament, she immediately came to Ning Cheng's side. Who do you think you are? Why should I give it to you? If Meng Jingxiu had thought that he had snatched her spot, and she had some opinions about him, then Ning Qing could still understand it. But now she thought that she was amazing, and came to take his points as a matter of course. Ning Qing immediately became unhappy in his heart. Then I will challenge you. Meng Jingxiu saw that Ning Cheng was just a trivial early-stage true condensation cultivator, and even dared to hold on to his 10 points, and immediately became unhappy in her heart. In her view, the points that Ning Cheng had in his hands were not given to the disciples of his academy, and were definitely given to others. Fuck off. Ning Cheng could not bear it any longer. In his heart he was thinking that this woman was sick. If she wanted to challenge, then the other academies also had 20 spots, and you could freely challenge them. But she just had to stare at the 10 points in his hands. Did she think that he was easy to bully? Meng Jingxiu raised her eyebrows, but before she could get angry, Lu Xian had already walked over and said, "The tournament is about to start. What are you still quarreling about?" Ning Qing said to Lu Xian, "Deacon Lu, Meng Jingxiu actually wants to challenge me. Does she have a problem with her brain? Meng Jingxiu was just about to explain that Ning Qing taking the points was a waste, when she saw Lu Xian frown and speak. Meng Jingxiu, our God Wind Academy is also a 5-star academy. Don't do or say such ridiculing words in the future. Prepare yourself, you will have to participate in the tournament. Yes. Meng Jingxiu did not dare to be rude to Deacon Lu, and replied in a respectful voice, before she turned around and left. This time she was too lazy to even look at Ning Qing. Deacon Lu, did you also come to ask me for the points? Ning Cheng's tone was calm. If Lu Xian also came to ask for the points, then he would immediately give them to Lu Xian, and then take Ji Luofei away from here. In this tournament, he had already obtained enough benefits. The hundreds of changes in the ancient scroll had given him a lot of benefits. For Lu Xian to ask him for the points, it was already not showing any respect to him. Even if he had to take out the points, he would have to take them himself. Lu Xian gave a wry smile and shook his head and said, "No, you just have to pay attention to your own safety on the stage. I can see that Shui Yu's eyes are filled with killing intent. You have to be careful of him. My God Wind Academy is already doomed to be at the bottom. Why would I want your 10 points? If you are not sure, then you can give your points to Chu Yong Xian. He is the first person in my God Wind Academy's true condensation realm. Many thanks Deacon Lu, but I still want to try it myself." Ning Qing felt that this Lu Xian was also a person with a temperament, and was very much in line with his temperament. God Wind Academy's Meng Jingxiu has brought her 10 points to the stage to challenge. No matter who it is, I will accept it. Meng Jingxiu had already stepped onto the square platform, when Ning Qing, who was talking to Lu Xian, saw her. When Lu Xian saw that Meng Jingxiu was the first to step onto the stage to challenge, he shook his head, sighed and turned away. No one had thought that the first person to challenge would unexpectedly be God Wind Academy's Meng Jingxiu. In terms of cultivation, Meng Jingxiu was only at true condensation 6th level. Among the 5-star academies that were here to prepare their disciples for the 3rd round of the tournament, even the worst among them was at least at the late stages of true condensation, but a true condensation 6th level cultivator actually wanted to come onto the stage to challenge? The audience in the square were all talking about it. They all wanted to know which academy would Meng Jingxiu from the God Wind Academy send her points to. Chapter 112. Meng Jingxiu's declaration of challenge had just come out, when 2 figures rushed towards the platform. However, the people from Luohua Academy were clearly a bit closer, and they rushed onto the square platform first. When the other person saw that the people from Luohua Academy had already gone up, he could only turn around resentfully. "I am Zhu Junjie from Luohua Academy, carrying 10 points. Miss Meng, you're no match for me. Since you're a woman, as long as you admit defeat." Zhu Junjie's words were not even finished, when Meng Jingxiu brought out her magical weapon. A fiery red halberd shadow instantly sealed off all of Zhu Junjie's escape routes. After the fiery red halberd shadow pierced out, the restrictions on the edge of the square battle stage began to shake. Such a powerful true essence, Ning Qing could see with a glance that this Meng Jingxiu was a lot stronger than Zhu Junjie. Zhu Junjie's cultivation level was already at true condensation 8th level, but the strength of a cultivator sometimes could not be explained by just having a high cultivation level. Ning Qing had a deep understanding of this. Before and after the transformation of his meridians by the mysterious yellow origin, the strength of his true condensation 1st level cultivation was like the difference between heaven and earth. Seeing Meng Jingxiu's halberd shadow, Ning Cheng's previous unhappiness towards this woman actually faded a lot. There were not many women who used halberd-type artifacts, but Meng Jingxiu's halberd was already more than 30 feet long. It was simply like a fierce general on the battlefield. It could be seen that this woman had always been such a straightforward person. She did not know how to speak, and it was easy for her to offend people. Ning Cheng was using a broken spear, because he did not have a large storage bag. As such he could only carry the broken spear on his back. So when he saw Meng Jingxiu display her halberd, he felt a kind of hypocritical feeling. Zhu Junjie completely did not think that Meng Jingxiu would make a move without even saying a word, as he panicked and brought out his own round shield-type artifact. Kacha! The round shield magical weapon had not yet been completely brought out, when it was blasted away by Meng Jingxiu's halberd shadow. Zhu Junjie was also hit by the powerful true essence and was sent flying a dozen meters away. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. If it wasn't for the fact that the square stage was huge, he might have been blasted to the edge of the barrier. You sneak attacked me. Zhu Junjie said angrily. Meng Jingxiu sneered, to deal with you, do I even need to sneak attack? Angry, river, tide, rising. Along with Meng Jingxiu's clear shout, the inexhaustible halberd shadows suddenly formed into a wave, hiding the sky and covering the earth as they rushed towards Zhu Junjie. An incomparably vast killing intent and powerful quintessential essence surged out from these waves. Some of the nearby spectators could feel a chill run down their spines. This halberd technique was too terrifying. All the people who saw this move understood that if Meng Jingxiu had used this sneak attack, then it would have been a real sneak attack. Zhu Junjie would not even have the opportunity to bring out his round shield. When Zhu Junjie saw this move, his face turned pale. At this moment, he did not dare to think of anything else. He raised his hands and a pair of Jinwu golden tiger hooks appeared. Zhu Junjie had already felt that Meng Jingxiu's true essence was much more formidable than his own, so when he brought out the true martial golden tiger hook, he immediately began to crazily revolve his true essence. If possible, he was even willing to burn his true essence. It was the first time that he had encountered such a powerful female cultivator with the cultivation of true condensation 6th level. Zhu Junjie was at true condensation 8th level, and was selected to represent the Luohua Academy in the 3rd round of the tournament. It was obvious that he was not a person with an undeserved reputation. After he brought out the Jinwu golden tiger hook with all his strength, it also formed a golden hook line after another. But the people with a higher cultivation could see that although Zhu Junjie's golden hook lines were formed one after another, but compared to Meng Jingxiu's halberd shadows that were like a stormy sea, it lacked a kind of imposing manner and a clear level. Boom boom boom. Just like a huge wave crashing against a reef, a powerful impact sound rang out continuously, as the quintessential essence surged out from the platform, causing the restriction around the platform to tremble. Catcha! The golden hook lines formed by Zhu Junjie finally broke apart completely, as the several halberd shadows that were not blocked by the Jinwu golden tiger hook bombarded Zhu Junjie's body. Zhu Junjie was once again sent flying, while at the same time more than a dozen blood stains sprayed out from his body. Plop! Zhu Junjie fell on the edge of the platform, not waiting for Meng Jingxiu to come forward again. He took the initiative to call out, "I admit defeat." At this time Zhu Junjie's entire body was stained with blood, his body was riddled with scars. If he continued to fight, then his life would definitely be in danger. Trembling, he stood up and walked down the platform. For Zhu Junjie, at this time, the most terrible thing was not the injuries on his body, but the fact that he actually admitted defeat after only 2 exchanges. Under so many pairs of eyes, he had not even met 2 exchanges, and had already lost to a woman with a lower cultivation than him. How would he be able to raise his head in the future? On the 3rd huge array formation projection screen, out of the 25 names, Zhu Junjie's name had already disappeared. At the same time, Meng Jingxiu's score also changed from 10 points to 20 points. The Grand Plaza was silent for a good while, before it erupted with a huge cheer. This kind of unexpected result of the match was the most popular. Lu Xian was pleasantly surprised as he muttered to himself, "I really did not expect that Meng Jingxiu would actually win. Does our God-Wind Academy still have a chance?" Meng Jingxiu calmly walked down from the platform. It was obvious that the anger that she received from Ningqing a moment ago had already been vented out. She did not mention any names when she came on stage. It was not a challenge or a challenge. Ji Luofei whispered in Ning Cheng's ear, "This woman is very powerful. if she wants to challenge you, you have to be careful. Ning Qing nodded in agreement with Ji Luofei's words. This Meng Jingxiu's moves were indeed very powerful. But to say that she could challenge him, Ning Qing thought that Ji Luofei was overestimating her. Even if Meng Jingxiu wanted to challenge him, she would have to wait until the end of the third round. At least she would have to wait until the God Wind Academy did not have any opponents. With Meng Jingxiu's skills, Ning Qing believed that she would not be able to persist until then. The top true condensation experts sent by the 5-star academies were absolutely not an opponent like Zhu Junjie. Originally the God Wind Academy was regarded as trash by the people, but because of Meng Jingxiu's first match, it was able to save some face. At least there were no other 5-star academies that were ridiculing Lu Xian. Good, good, good. Lu Xian constantly praised Meng Jingxiu. For him, Meng Jingxiu's victory was not just a match. He was ridiculed by the people on the main altar. Now that Meng Jingxiu had won, he was simply too lazy to go up again. Just as the people were talking about Meng Jingxiu from the God Wind Academy, a figure once again landed on the platform. This was a handsome man dressed in white, and he looked extremely elegant. His long dark red hair was casually scattered over his shoulders, which made him look a bit more unruly. If one had to say that he had a flaw in his appearance, then it would be that his nose was slightly hooked. But perhaps in the eyes of some people, it was another kind of strong performance. Some of the young girls had already begun to scream. It could be seen that this white-robed man was really selling out. The white-robed man cupped his fists towards the people around him, and then spoke in a clear voice. Falling Star Academy's Shui Yu, with 10 points, challenges God Wind Academy's Ning Xiaocheng. Shui Yu's words made the already forgotten Ning Xiaocheng once again become a hot topic of discussion. Ning Xiaocheng was the one who had taken the first place in the written test, but in the real tournament, he had obtained 11 points in 2 rounds, which caused him to become a joke. At this time, Ning Xiaocheng's cultivation level was also exposed. Although his cultivation level was not bad, it was only at true condensation 3rd level. But for a true condensation 3rd level cultivator to fight against a true condensation 7th level cultivator, the result simply did not need to be guessed. This time Ning Xiaocheng really is courting death. I do not know how he offended Shui Yu of the Shui clan. True condensation 7th level against true condensation 3rd level, you simply do not need to think about the result. Humph, is Shui Yu of the Shui clan an ordinary true condensation 7th level cultivator? He is the genius of the younger generation of the Shui clan. Moreover, he is also representing the Falling Star Academy in this tournament. Even if it was an ordinary true condensation 9th level cultivator, they would not necessarily be his opponent. This Ning Xiaocheng really knows how to cause trouble. I heard that he had killed Shui Yu's younger brother not long ago. What? No wonder Shui Yu wants to challenge him. This is simply courting death. Humph, I am sure that Ning Xiaocheng will not fight. He will definitely give his points to an expert from the God Wind Academy. That's right, this kind of thing that is courting death, no one would do it. Meng Jingxiu coldly looked at Ning Cheng. This was a sin that he brought upon himself. If she had known that he would have given his points to her, wouldn't everything be fine now? She was waiting for Ning Cheng to come in front of her. Even if he had to give her Ning Cheng's points, at that time she would also ridicule him. Ning Cheng obviously would not beg Meng Jingxiu. He patted the slightly nervous Ji Luofei and said, "Don't worry, it's not like you haven't seen me fight before." There was also a sentence that Ning Cheng did not tell Ji Luofei. Compared to the time when he was in the Thunder Fall Desert, he did not know how many times stronger he was. This was not only because his cultivation had advanced to true condensation 3rd level, but more importantly because his meridians had been completely transformed by the mysterious yellow origin. Junior apprentice brother Xiaocheng, if you do not mind, I can help you fight. A man with thick eyebrows came to Ning Cheng's side and cupped his fists as he spoke. After Lu Xian's introduction, Ning Cheng came to know who this person was. He was the strongest person in the true condensation realm in the God Wind Academy, Chu Yong Xian. Chu Yong Xian's meaning was to let Ning Cheng give his points to him. In this case, Shui Yu would not be qualified to challenge Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and thanked him. Thank you, Senior Apprentice Brother Chu. I will go by myself. It looks like that guy wants to eat people. I will take the initiative to let him eat. Saying that, Ning Cheng smiled at Ji Luofei as he carried his spear on his back and slowly walked towards the platform. Meng Jingxiu looked at Ning Cheng's back in doubt. She really did not think that Ning Cheng would dare to fight on his own. Was it really true that the ignorant were fearless? Seeing Ning Cheng approaching the platform, she was somewhat speechless as she shook her head and said, I actually care about such a stupid person. Hey, that Ning Xiaocheng is really going to fight. I know him. The one walking on the platform is Ning Xiaocheng. There really is a guy who takes the initiative to court death. Seeing Ning Cheng walking on the platform, a surprised voice sounded out. I guess that he is still thinking about whether or not he would be able to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat like he did in the written test. Humph, that is just a dream. It is not necessarily a dream. Maybe when Ning Xiaoqing came on stage, that Falling Star Academy's Shui Yu suddenly fell asleep. Then Ning Xiaoqing would easily win. You are courting death, daring to tease Shui Yu. If the Shui clan people heard you, then you are dead for sure. There were all kinds of opinions, but none of them were optimistic that Ning Cheng would be able to defeat Shui Yu. Chapter 113. Unexpectedly you have the courage to come up and die. I really underestimated you. Shui Yu stared at Ning Cheng as he walked up the platform and spoke in a light voice. Carrying such a broken spear, it must have been hard on you. Shui Yu's eyes swept over the broken spear on Ning Cheng's back, as his mouth revealed a trace of sarcasm. How could his eyes not see that Ning Cheng's spear was only a low-grade artifact? Although he challenged Ning Cheng on the platform, but he did not think that Ning Cheng would come up. His plan was that Ning Cheng would definitely not dare to come up. As long as Ning Cheng did not come up on the platform, his goal would be achieved. A guy who was afraid to fight, even if his cultivation was low, would immediately be shamed, and no one would look up to Ning Cheng. The reason why the God Wind Academy had not said anything until now, was because they wanted to maintain the face of a 5-star academy. Otherwise, Ning Cheng only scored 11 points in the 2 rounds, the God Wind Academy would definitely not give Ning Cheng a good look. Once Ning Cheng was afraid to fight, then the God Wind Academy would no longer protect Ning Cheng. Even if Ning Cheng was killed, no one would say anything about the God Wind Academy. For a disciple who was afraid to fight, the academy did not take the initiative to punish him. It was already considered a kindness. Why would they care about who killed Ning Cheng? Shui Yu's idea was that Ning Cheng was afraid to fight, and then he would take Ning Cheng away and kill him afterwards. You actually have the courage to challenge your grandfather. I really underestimated you. Ning Cheng said as if he did not care about it. Shui Yu's mouth revealed a trace of imperceptible sarcasm. Ning Cheng, you can rush to the Hua continent from the Ping continent. It seems that you have some ability, but unfortunately your eyes are not big. If you had persuaded Luo Fei to come to my Shui clan to make amends, then perhaps you could have kept your dog life. Now, I not only want to kill you, but I also have no interest in that Ji Luo Fei. Do you know how I will deal with that Ji Luo Fei when I get back? You can't think of it, she will have a lot. Pa. Shui Yu simply did not put Ning Cheng in his eyes. When he spoke, he even forgot that his head was already within Ning Cheng's reach. He never thought that Ning Cheng would dare to slap him in the face, moreover he would even be able to slap him in the face. Pa, a sound emerged. Ning Cheng did not hold back at all. If he was not afraid that Shui Yu would be alerted, he would not have gathered his true essence. As such, half of Shui Yu's face would have been turned into nothingness by Ning Cheng's slap. Even if that was the case, half of Shui Yu's face had already been slapped off by Ning Cheng, as more than a dozen teeth and the skin on his face splashed out. I'm going to swallow you. Shui Yu's eyes immediately became ferocious. He raised his hand and waved a pair of black giant scissors. As soon as the giant scissors appeared, it was like an overwhelming dark cloud, completely enveloping the entire competition stage. Even the onlookers felt a chill run down their spines. It was as if the giant scissors were cutting at them. The berserk true essence and killing intent swept across the entire battle platform. It could be seen that Shui Yu's desire to kill Ning Cheng was very strong. Compared to Meng Jing Xiu's halberd shadows from a while ago, this pair of giant scissors was incomparably fast. It made people think that in the next moment, everything on the tournament stage would be completely cut into pieces by this pair of giant scissors. All the people knew that even if Ning Cheng's speed was fast, he would not be able to bring out the spear on his back in front of this berserk pair of giant scissors. Facing this terrifying pair of giant scissors, Ning Cheng really did not bring out his spear. It was not that Ning Cheng did not have enough time to bring it out, but rather Ning Cheng did not intend to bring out his spear. He just chopped out with his fist. Shui Yu was not worthy enough for him to bring out his spear. That's right, he really chopped out. Axe fist. This was something that Ning Cheng had comprehended from the axe trace's killing intent in the Dawn Forest, but unfortunately he did not have an axe, and could only use his axe fist. This was not the first time that Ning Cheng had used his axe fist. He had already used his axe fist several times, and every time he used it, he could feel that the might of his axe fist was rising. A bitter killing intent erupted out from Ning Cheng's body, and instantly filled the space between him and Shui Yu. Shui Yu did not feel Ning Cheng's fist, but he felt a huge axe falling down from the top of his head, directly chopping towards his pair of giant scissors. Such a terrifying killing intent. That's not right, this was an axe intent. But he obviously did not see Ning Cheng use his axe. If he did not use his axe, then how could he use his axe intent? But he could feel a very strong axe-type killing intent. The giant scissors' berserk silhouette paused for a moment, and then collided with Ning Cheng's axe fist's killing intent. Ka. It was as if a pair of scissors had cut into steel, as a burst of ear-piercing grinding sounds resounded. Boom! The berserk true essence in the axe fist's killing intent and the giant scissors exploded. Shui Yu, along with his pair of giant scissors, were blown back a few dozen meters away. Only then was he barely able to stand. Ning Cheng felt that his true essence was surging, but under the operation of his true essence, the surging true essence immediately subsided. Most of the people who were watching the fight outside the ring stood up in shock. Even some of the experts on the main altar and the judges were surprised and subconsciously stretched out their necks. No one could have thought that this would be the result. Previously, when Ning Cheng had slapped Shui Yu in the face, it had already made all of them unable to believe it, but now that they were facing each other head-on in a head-on battle, it made everyone subvert their original views. Unexpectedly, they are evenly matched. Some people began to talk. Humph, evenly matched. You are dreaming. That Shui Yu was slapped by Ning Xiaocheng in the face, and has already fallen into a disadvantageous position. That move from Shui Yu a moment ago was filled with anger, but Ning Cheng hastily punched out. He did not even use the spear on his back. Do you still think that who has the upper hand? It is indeed Ning Xiaocheng who has won. I did not think that this Ning Xiaocheng, who is only at true condensation 3rd level, would unexpectedly be so powerful. He should not have deliberately lost in the first 2 rounds, and then in the 3rd round he would make people sit up and take notice of him, right? Don't talk nonsense. If it was given to you, would you deliberately lose? There were all kinds of discussions, but no one said that Ning Xiaocheng was courting death. But no one knew that there were really some people who were talking about Ning Cheng deliberately losing in the 1st and 2nd rounds. Lu Xian once again stood up excitedly. He did not think that Ning Cheng would be so powerful. That punch a moment ago unexpectedly had a strong axe-type killing intent, but unfortunately Ning Cheng did not have an axe. If Ning Cheng had an axe, then with that axe of his, even if Shui Yu did not die, he would be seriously injured. Even the dignified-looking man who was presiding over the 1st and 2nd rounds of the tournament, who was sitting on the main altar, also opened his eyes. With their cultivation level, when Ning Cheng's axe fist came out, they were able to see that it was a punch that contained the axe-type killing intent. If one did not have enough comprehension ability, then they absolutely would not be able to throw out such a punch. The dignified-looking man stared at Ning Cheng for a while. It was reasonable to say that this Ning Xiaocheng was able to comprehend the axe-type killing intent, so in the second round of the tournament, he should not have only scored a single point. What kind of spiritual root does this Ning Xiaocheng have? The dignified-looking man suddenly asked. At this time Lu Xian was not on the main altar, but there was a female cultivator from the God Wind Academy with the cultivation of essence building realm. When she heard the dignified-looking man's question, she quickly took back the surprise in her eyes, and stepped forward and respectfully said, Ning Xiaocheng's memory is extremely powerful, but his spiritual root is actually a hybrid spiritual root. Before in the Dawn Forest, he had come across a spiritual essence spring pond, and because of that opportunity, he was able to advance to the early stages of the true condensation realm. The dignified-looking man nodded. After listening to the words of this female cultivator, he finally understood why Ning Cheng only scored a single point in the comprehension ability test. In the second round of the tournament, those who were able to see multiple images were either pure spiritual roots, or variant spiritual roots. Ordinary people with multiple spiritual roots could only see a single image. If they could only see a single image, then even if their comprehension ability was even stronger, they would not be able to comprehend the contents of the images. As for hearing that Ning Cheng had come across a spiritual essence spring in the Dawn Forest, he did not care about it. Since he had come across a spiritual essence spring, then after cultivating for a few years, it would not be strange for him to advance to the true condensation realm. If he knew that Ning Cheng had only come from the Dawn Forest a few months ago, then perhaps he would not have thought like this. Hey, I have once again made an error in judgment. Ling Naixin from the Thunder Academy stared at Ning Cheng in bewilderment. She suddenly felt that she had misjudged Ning Cheng twice. She could no longer see through Ning Cheng. Such a powerful person, how could he only score a single point in the second round of the tournament? Shui Yu is not this person's opponent. Quickly tell Shui Yu to admit defeat. In the Shui clan station, an old man after seeing Shui Yu suffer a loss, his complexion changed as he stood up and spoke. His voice had just fallen, when Shui Yu once again rushed towards Ning Cheng. At this time, Shui Yu's heart was filled with anger and grievance. He was the dignified genius of the Shui clan, but he unexpectedly lost to an outsider at the early stages of the true condensation realm. If this was spread out, then how would he, Shui Yu, have the face to see anyone? This time he almost completely stimulated his giant scissors. The huge silhouette immediately separated, forming two silhouettes, one on the left and one on the right, cutting towards Ning Cheng. The two silhouettes on the left and right had not yet reached Ning Cheng, when they once again divided into four silhouettes. In the end, the entire ring was almost filled with silhouettes. Just like an arrow at the end of its flight, Ning Cheng sneered. Shui Yu's fighting spirit had already been hit, and was already in chaos. These countless silhouettes blasted out. It was indeed a powerful magical skill. But unfortunately, Shui Yu's fighting spirit was in chaos. Moreover, his true essence was also not enough. These silhouettes that were blasted out were just an empty shell. If Shui Yu could adjust his mentality, then he could continue to fight with him for a while, but now, Ning Cheng did not even put him in his eyes. Ning Cheng still did not bring out his spear, not to mention bringing out his 7 Pleiades ice needle. He just blasted out a few punches in succession. This was the axe fist that he temporarily simulated according to the countless silhouettes of Shui Yu. The axe fist's shadow, under the stimulation of Ning Cheng's true essence, was blasted out by Ning Cheng. From the moment it appeared, in just a breath, it was already comparable to the silhouettes. Pa 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 pa. The axe fist's shadow and the silhouettes collided together. The true essence exploded out with a series of sounds. These sounds seemed to have an astonishing momentum, but the people who understood it understood that the might of this confrontation was simply not as good as the previous giant scissors and Ning Cheng's fist. Kacha! After the countless silhouettes dissipated, Shui Yu finally woke up. He knew that he was not Ning Cheng's opponent. If he continued to fight, then he would die without a doubt. I admit, Shui Yu had not finished his words. Ning Cheng had already leapt up and punched out with all his strength. How could he let Shui Yu say the word admit defeat? Chapter 114. Not to mention that at this time Shui Yu had completely lost his fighting spirit. Even if Shui Yu's fighting spirit was high, he would not be able to completely block Ning Cheng's fist that had been accumulating power for a long time. However, if his fighting spirit was high, then Ning Cheng's punch would not have been able to kill him. Bang! Shui Yu was hit by Ning Cheng's fist, causing his entire upper dantian to burst open. Then, he fell to the ground like a dead fish. Little bastard, you actually dared to kill Shui Yu, this old man will split you. As Shui Yu was killed by Ning Cheng's fist, an angry voice tore through the air, while simultaneously a gray shadow rushed towards the platform like a lightning bolt. The Shui clan was used to running amok in the Moze city. Other than a little fear towards the Falling Star Academy, they basically did not have any scruples. Moreover, Shui Yu was the future of the next generation of the Shui family. For such a person to be directly killed by Ning Cheng on the stage, the Shui family was unable to accept it for a while. It was a pity that this elder of the Shui family had forgotten what this competition was and who was the host. He hadn't even reached the edge of the stage when an overwhelming pressure came crashing down on him. This Shui clan elder suddenly sobered up. This was not an ordinary tournament, but rather the tournament for the 6-star academies hosted by the masters of the intermediate class continents. He actually dared to rush onto the stage in this kind of competition. Wasn't that just courting death? Cold sweat flowed down his back. Before he could step back and apologize, a huge palm had already struck down. PFFF. Another blood mist sprayed out. This elder of the Shui family didn't even have the chance to resist and was directly turned into a blood mist by the huge palm. What audacity! A mere ant actually dares to charge into the battle arena. Only then did everyone hear the old man who was hosting the third round sneer. His figure once again landed on the main altar. The onlookers in the public square immediately sucked in a mouthful of cold air. The elder of the Shui clan was a cultivator in the essence building realm. In front of this old man from an intermediate class continent, such a master could not even dodge a single slap. Some of the people who had not paid much attention to the experts from the intermediate class continents, at this time, felt a chill run down their spines. These people had not made a move, not because they had a good temper, but because no one had dared to offend them yet. Now that someone from the Shui family dared to offend them, they were immediately killed. This kind of decisive style was extremely shocking. Even the shock of Ning Cheng killing Shui Yu, when compared to this kind of shock, seemed a bit weak. Although Ning Cheng appeared calm on the surface, but his heart was similarly shaken. He had seen experts before, and that old woman was one of them. However, because the old woman didn't do anything to him, he didn't really care about her. Only now did he realize how far apart he was from those experts. Just now, when the old man who presided over the competition struck out with his palm, he clearly saw that the immense killing intent had directly stirred up the surrounding killing intent. That killing intent was clearly not directed at him, but he still felt a sense of powerlessness to resist. If that slap was aimed at him, he could only wait for death. Sure enough, without strength, everything was in vain. This old man was definitely a profound core cultivator, but Ning Cheng had heard that the Shui clan had a profound core cultivator. If this Shui clan's expert with the cultivation of profound core realm wanted to kill him, then he would not even have the opportunity to resist, let alone escape. Strength, he must have strength. Ning Cheng clenched his fists. He made up his mind, even if he disdained to pay any price, he had to improve his cultivation as soon as possible. He absolutely could not wait for death. The God Wind Academy would not be able to protect him for a lifetime. What's more, he also knew that if this Shui clan's expert decided to attack him, then even the God Wind Academy would not be able to protect him. Ning Cheng slowly sighed. As he put away Shui Yu's things, he raised his hand and immediately used a fireball to burn Shui Yu to ashes. Since he had already offended them, then he did not need to retreat even half a bit. Seeing Ning Cheng slowly walking down from the platform, the incomparably quiet Grand Plaza suddenly burst into a burst of noise. Ning Cheng not only killed Shui Yu, but also directly turned Shui Yu into ashes. This kind of courage and strength, before this, who could even think of it? At this time the score on the projection array formation screen had once again changed. Ning Cheng's score was now 20 points, while Shui Yu's name had disappeared. At the same time, there were also 7 or 8 other names that disappeared. But their names had disappeared, it was just that their scores were given to the other cultivators from the same academy for free. For the people in the Grand Plaza, these things were not important. The most shocking thing was that a true condensation 3rd level cultivator unexpectedly killed a true condensation 7th level cultivator, Shui Yu. This was certainly because Shui Yu had just advanced to the true condensation 7th level, and his cultivation was not stable, but the main reason was that this true condensation 3rd level cultivator was too ferocious and terrifying. Lu Xian was pleasantly surprised as he looked at Ning Cheng, who was walking down from the platform. He did not think that Ning Cheng would be this powerful, to even kill a true condensation 7th level cultivator like Shui Yu. After Meng Jingxiu, this was the second surprise that he had received. Did the God Wind Academy really have a chance to enter the top ranks? Meng Jingxiu pursed her lips, and said with some disapproval, that Shui Yu is not worthy of his name. When the experts from the Falling Star Academy challenge us, humph. When Lu Xian heard Meng Jingxiu's words, he did not answer. He certainly knew more than Meng Jingxiu, although Shui Yu was a disciple of the Falling Star Academy, but he was after all a member of the Shui clan. To say that the people from the Falling Star Academy would stand up for Shui Yu, he simply did not believe it. As for Meng Jingxiu saying that Shui Yu was not worthy of his name, he also thought that Shui Yu had just advanced to the late stages of the true condensation realm, and his cultivation had not solidified. The reason why he asked for a spot was because he wanted to kill Ning Cheng. But he did not think that Ning Cheng would not be able to kill him, but would instead send himself out. Alas, this Shui Yu is really not worthy of his name, he has such a big reputation. A deacon from the Falling Star Academy saw that Shui Yu was killed, and was somewhat speechless as he shook his head. He is an elite of the Shui clan, usually the others would give in to him. Over time, he developed a habit of being a master, even he himself is not aware of it. But the fact is that he is a master who relies on pills. How high can he be? Someone from the side said with a sneer. Meng Yujing was also the representative of the Falling Star Academy. After Ning Cheng killed Shui Yu, she had been staring at Ning Cheng. She always felt that Ning Cheng was somewhat familiar, but she could not remember what it was that was familiar to her. Although Shui Yu is unbearable, but this Ning Xiaocheng is definitely a guy who plays the pig to eat the tiger. As for why his results in the first 2 rounds were so bad, perhaps there is a reason for it. Qi Ziwen, Meng Yujing, although our Falling Star Academy is temporarily ranked first, but in the last round of the tournament, the experts from the various academies are like clouds in the sky. But for us to get points, we will have to rely on the 2 of you. You must be careful. Especially that Ning Xiaocheng, you have to pay even more attention to him. A cultivator with the cultivation of profound congealing realm from the Falling Star Academy stood up, and spoke to the 2 young man and woman beside him in a dignified manner. Yes, Master Lien. The young male cultivator quickly nodded. He was the strongest cultivator in the true condensation realm of the Falling Star Academy, called Qi Ziwen. The Falling Star Academy was mainly relying on him for the 3rd round. Meng Yujing suddenly came to her senses. She finally remembered who this Ning Xiaocheng who killed Shui Yu was. A few days ago when she and Chu Ping were leaving the Moze city, there seemed to be a person overtaking them, but then that person seemed to have something to do, and was overtaken by them. At that time she had some thoughts, plus there were a lot of people coming and going on the road, so she did not care about that person, and just casually glanced at him. But now she finally remembered, that person was Ning Xiaocheng. Meng Yujing knew that that person was Ning Xiaocheng, and then associated it with the fact that Ning Xiaocheng deliberately fell behind her. How could she not know that Ning Xiaocheng was following her? Meng Yujing's face turned cold. She did not think that she would unexpectedly be followed. Every time she went out, she was very careful, Moreover, when she went to that mountain village hut, she was even more cautious. She was confident that even if it was a cultivator in the essence building realm, they would not necessarily be able to follow her to the vicinity of that hut. But on that day she had a feeling that she was being spied on. Could it be that Ning Xiaocheng was able to follow her to the outside of that hut to peep at her? Whether it was true or not, this person could not be allowed to live. She certainly did not know that the reason why Ning Xiaocheng was able to get to the outside of that hut without being discovered by her, was mainly because of that old woman. In the third round of the tournament, there were 2 matches, both of which were fought by the people from the God Wind Academy, and both of them won. As far as the score of the third round was concerned, the God Wind Academy already had 70 points, which was ahead of the other 4 academies. The discussions about Ning Cheng in the square finally stopped when the third cultivator stepped onto the platform. This cultivator was very strong and tall, his strong body was almost bursting out of the cultivator robes that he was wearing. This was a guy at the true condensation 9th level. Ning Cheng was able to see his cultivation level from a distance. Clear Sky Academy's Yuan Jian, with 10 points, I would like to consult the various experts. The strong cultivator smiled as he cupped his fists and turned around in a circle. At least he did not look annoying. Yuan Jian's voice had just fallen, when someone quickly flew onto the platform. This person was also a tall male cultivator. After he stepped onto the platform, he directly brought out his magical weapon and said, "I am Guyi from the Thunder Academy," and also with 10 points. While speaking, Guyi also brought out his magical weapon, bringing out a dense sword curtain. Yuan Jian did not seem to have thought that Guyi would immediately start fighting, but he was not even half a bit nervous, as he brought out his magical weapon, which was a copper pestle. The copper pestle brought out a golden light, as it overlapped with Guyi's sword curtain, causing it to explode on the platform, forming a crackling light. It looked very amazing. Guyi also had the cultivation of true condensation 9th level, which was the same as Yuan Jian's cultivation. Ning Cheng could see from the way the 2 of them fought, that the 2 of them had a very deep and profound true essence as their basis. Moreover, they were evenly matched, and would not be able to determine the winner or loser in a short period of time. This kind of evenly matched fight, moreover overflowing with true essence, was the most exciting fight to watch. After Ning Cheng looked at it for a while, he felt that it was not interesting at all. These 2 people should not even be able to beat Meng Jingxiu. On the surface, Yuan Jian seemed to have the highest cultivation in the Clear Sky Academy. If Yuan Jian lost, then the Clear Sky Academy would definitely be in danger in the tournament between the 5-star academies. These 2 evenly matched people fought for a full half an hour. When the others thought that the 2 of them would still continue to persist, Guyi suddenly brought out his sword curtain. This sword curtain in just a twinkling of an eye turned into a giant sword. This sword curtain was just like breaking an egg, as it tore apart Yuan Jian's pestle shadow. Puff! Blood sprayed out. Even before Yuan Jian died, he did not think that Guyi, who was evenly matched with him just a moment ago, would have such a terrifying trump card. Thunder Academy's Guyi with 20 points challenges the God Wind Academy's Chu Yong Xian. What was even more unexpected was that after Guyi killed Yuan Jian, he immediately challenged the God Wind Academy. Chapter 115. Guyi's words immediately caused an uproar. In the previous 2 matches, it was the winner who went down to rest. Unexpectedly, Thunderclap Academy's Guyi not only didn't rest, he didn't even take a breath, continuing to challenge. This was too awesome. Not only was it awesome, but it was also incomparably domineering. Just imagine, the corpse of the Clear Sky Academy's Yuan Jian was still lying on the stage bleeding, while he continued to challenge. This kind of confidence won the support of the people. Sure enough, when Guyi immediately challenged the God Wind Academy, the audience outside the platform immediately cheered. There is no sympathy here, no pity. Yuan Jian was killed because he was not strong enough. No one would grieve over a dead man. Coming here to watch the competition, they wanted to see the excitement, and they wanted to see the passion. Ning Qing frowned. Chu Yong Xian was also from the God Wind Academy, and he had heard that he was the strongest expert in the true condensation realm of the God Wind Academy, and was also one of the main forces in the third round. Ning Qing did not know about Chu Yong Xian's strength, but he knew that Guye's sword skill, which had transformed the countless sword curtains into a giant sword, was extremely powerful. If he was in a hurry, it would be hard for him to dodge. Of course, now that he knew this guy had this ability, he wasn't afraid. Ning Qing still had a good impression of Chu Yong Xian. Before this, Chu Yong Xian was worried about him, and took the initiative to help him deal with Shui Yu. Ning Qing had just thought of this, when he saw Chu Yong Xian walking towards him. Junior apprentice brother Ning, I did not think that you would turn out to be so powerful. I have enmity with that Guyi, and he is vicious and merciless. Previously, he had used a new sword skill to kill Yuan Jian. It was definitely not just this move. I don't have the confidence to defeat him. Senior apprentice brother Chu, if you do not mind, I am willing to help you kill him. Ning Qing thought that Chu Yong Xian was looking for his help, and immediately took the initiative to speak up. Previously, Chu Yong Xian had wanted to fight for him. Now, he was going to fight for Chu Yong Xian without any hesitation. Chu Yong Xian showed a faint smile. Junior apprentice brother Ning, just like you, I will not be afraid to fight. I looked for you not to ask for your help, but because I'm not confident. Once I lose, I will definitely be killed by this person. I also have a younger brother in the God Wind Academy, called Chu Yongren. If something happens to me, I hope you can help me look after him. Senior apprentice brother Chu, rest assured. Ning Qing spoke without hesitation. He knew that Chu Yong Xian was very optimistic about him. It was precisely because of this that he said such words. Chu Yong Xian nodded and strode towards the stage. However, before Chu Yong Xian could reach the stage, a figure landed on the side of the stage in front of him. Immediately after, this person turned to Guyi and spoke in a cold voice. Guyi, I'm afraid that you will die at the hands of others, so I want to challenge you first. If you don't dare to accept, I will retreat immediately. Ha ha ha, I, Guyi, would not be afraid of a trivial true condensation 8th level junior like you. If I kill you and then kill that Chu Yong Xian, then it would only take the time it takes to brew a cup of tea. Hearing that this person wanted to be the first to challenge him, Guyi laughed, and did not care even half a bit about it. Guye's words caused a lot of people to be dissatisfied. He could be arrogant, but this was too arrogant. He himself was only at the true condensation 9th level, so why would he call a junior at the true condensation 8th level? He simply didn't know what he was doing. The challenger did not mind being called a junior by Guyi. Instead, he turned towards Chu Yong Xian, cupped his fists and said, Brother Chu, I want to take revenge for senior brother Yuan. Can I ask brother Chu to let me have this puppet? Chu Yong Xian laughed and said, if brother Situ wants to take revenge, then please go ahead. This Chu Yong Xian is willing to cheer for brother Situ. Seeing Chu Yong Xian retreat, Ning Qing was slightly relieved. He had a hunch that Chu Yong Xian was not Guye's opponent. Regarding the person who challenged Guyi, Ning Qing also knew that it was Situ Yu from the Clear Sky Academy. He had the cultivation of true condensation 8th level, and had obtained 45 points in the first round of the written exam, which was considered a good score. He was also the one who obtained the score for the Clear Sky Academy in the second round. At this point in the tournament, the contestants from the several academies were already filled with the smell of gunpowder. Guyi directly said that he would kill Situ Yu first and then kill Chu Yong Xian, but Situ Yu directly said that he wanted to take revenge. There was simply no need for him to participate in the tournament. This kind of bloody tournament was full of conflict and killing, which aroused the passion of the spectators. But the old man who presided over the tournament acted as if he did not see it. For him, it did not matter who died or who lived. The most important thing was, who got how many points. After Situ Yu came to the stage, he first cupped his fists towards the surrounding people and said, Clear Sky Academy's Situ Yu, with 40 points, challenges Guyi. Sityu finished, he did not wait for Guyi to speak, as both of his hands covered the sky as he rushed towards Guyi. This was the first time that someone had brought a person with more than 10 points to the stage, moreover it was a challenger. As soon as the spectators heard this, they immediately understood what was going on. The Clear Sky Academy's main fighting force in the third round was Sityu and Yuan Jian, as such the rest of the people's points were all given to Sityu. Now that Yuan Jian was killed, if Sityu also lost, then the Clear Sky Academy would be eliminated early. As soon as Sityu made his move, Ning Qing knew that this person was not a simple person. This person's cultivation was definitely much stronger than Yuan Jian, no wonder the Clear Sky Academy wanted to give all their points to Sityu. Sityu seemed to have covered the sky with his hands, but in fact the people with a strong spiritual consciousness could clearly see that Sityu had brought out a big net. Moreover, this net was light-colored, and under the cover of the hands that were covering the sky, they could not see it clearly. Guyi and Sityu stood opposite to each other. When Sityu brought out a big net, he was the first to feel it, and once again brought out a dense sword curtain with the long sword in his hands. But this time when the sword curtain met Sityu's big net, it was not as easy as when he had fought against Yuan Jian. The light of the sword curtain was blocked by the big net, and was only faintly discernible, and was simply unable to completely break out. Guyi was in the middle of the fight. Of course he was aware of his own situation, his sword curtain was already bound by the opposite party's big net magical weapon. For him, if he could not get rid of the opposite party's big net in the shortest possible time, and free himself from his own sword, then he would definitely lose without a doubt. Guyi was anxious to get rid of the opposite party's big net magical weapon, and was no longer able to take advantage of the opportunity. The sword curtain around him gave out a burst of whistling sounds, and in a twinkling of an eye gathered together. Just like the fight with Yuan Jian, this large sword curtain after it gathered together, immediately formed a huge wide sword. But this time the huge wide sword was not able to hit Sityu's body, and was still bound by Sityu's big net. The huge sword struggled in the big net, but for a while it was unexpectedly unable to break free from the big net. Guye's heart sank, he did not think that Sityu's big net would be so strong. He did not wait for him to continue with the next sword skill, when a stream of light shot out from Sityu's hands. The moment the stream of light came out, it immediately shrouded the entire battle ring. Even though he was so far away, he could still feel the heat coming from it. Boom! Guyi hastily brought out a round shield, but it was immediately hit by the stream of light. Because the round shield had not been completely brought out, after it was hit by the stream of light, it immediately cracked. Guyi quickly retreated, but at this time, the speed of the stream of light was even faster than the stream of light, and suddenly shot out from under Guye's feet. With a light sound, Sityu's feet were directly taken away by the rainbow, but at this time the stream of light had bypassed the round shield, and continued to hit Guye's body. Not long ago, Guyi was incomparably arrogant when he beheaded the Clear Sky Academy's Yuan Jian, but now the expression of panic on his face had not even had the time to form, when he was blasted into ashes by Sityu's stream of light. The smoothness and speed of the fight made the people's eyes dazzled. By the time the people could see clearly, Guyi had already been killed. There was a moment of silence in the plaza, but then immediately a loud roar broke out. Ning Qing frowned as he stared at Sityu. This Sityu was just too powerful. This person was not only strong, but he was also very cautious. Every step of the Thunder Academy's Guye's reaction was within his calculations, moreover he had even arranged the rainbow in advance for a sneak attack. Even he couldn't tell what the rainbow that had successfully launched a sneak attack was. At this time on the array formation projection screen of the third round, Sityu's score had already changed to 60 points, while Guye's name had already disappeared without a trace. Sityu calmly put away his spoils of war, and took Yuan Jian's body down from the platform, and once again returned to the Clear Sky Academy's encampment. But Guye's body had just turned into a pile of ash, and no one went to collect it. Elder brother Ning, with my cultivation, I'm afraid that it will be very difficult for me to beat those people. I want to leave my score to you. Min Rui of the God Wind Academy, after seeing the last few bloody fights, was already somewhat nervous in his heart. He was very clear about his own cultivation. If he wanted to win a match on the platform, then it would be extremely difficult. Lu Xian came over, and nodded and said, "What Min Rui said is right, since we have Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu, your choice is the right one." Meng Jingxiu pursed her lips at the side. It was obvious that Min Rui did not give his score to her, and was somewhat uncomfortable in her heart. Ning Cheng had won a match, but she had also won a match. Moreover, her opponent was at true condensation 8th level, while Ning Cheng's opponent was just a guy who had just advanced to true condensation 7th level. After talking to Min Rui, Lu Xian looked at Gu Hong, who was at true condensation 8th level, and asked, "Gu Hong, what do you think?" Gu Hong simply said, "Deacon Lu, I decided to go up and give it a try. If I don't give it a try, then I will not be reconciled in my heart." Gu Hong finished, cupped his fists towards Lu Xian, and quickly walked out of the God Wind Academy's encampment, and landed on the platform, and then spoke in a clear voice, "God Wind Academy's Gu Hong, along with 10 of the outstanding heroes of the branch. A moment ago, Guyi had killed Yuan Jian, but in the blink of an eye, he was killed by Situ Yu. The restlessness of the crowd had not yet subsided. When Gu Hong once again stepped onto the platform, it immediately attracted everyone's attention. It was not because Gu Hong was famous, nor was it because Gu Hong's cultivation was high. In terms of cultivation, Gu Hong was only at true condensation 8th level. The reason why the people under the platform were paying attention to Gu Hong was because Gu Hong was also from the God Wind Academy. Moreover, he was by far the person with the highest cultivation from the God Wind Academy on the platform. In the previous 2 matches of the God Wind Academy, whether it was Meng Xiuwen who was at true condensation 6th level or Ning Xiaocheng who was at true condensation 3rd level, both of them easily won. Therefore, when Gu Hong from the God Wind Academy, who was at true condensation 8th level, stepped onto the platform, it immediately attracted a lot of attention. Chapter 116. However, Ning Cheng was not optimistic about Gu Hong. He whispered to Ji Luofei beside him, "Luofei, before I thought that with my cultivation, if I tried everything I could to escape, then I would be able to protect myself. Previously, when I saw that profound core cultivator easily slap the essence-building elder of the Shui clan to death, I knew that my way of thinking was wrong. With my cultivation, not only can I not protect myself, but I'm still an ant-like existence here." Ji Luofei tightly grasped Ning Cheng's hand. She had always been worried about the Shui clan. Although Ning Cheng was powerful, but he only had the cultivation of true condensation 3rd level, while she was only at Qi gathering 6th level. The difference between them was simply too great. "Luofei, originally I did not care much about the Angry Axe Valley, but this time I must obtain the quota to go to the Angry Axe Valley. Only when I'm strong enough can I have a say in this." Speaking till here, Ning Cheng also held Ji Luofei's hand, as he looked at Ji Luofei and said, "Luofei, after this great meet, I estimate that the people from the intermediate class continents will immediately leave the Hua continent with 20 quotas to participate in the Angry Axe Valley. Although I have a way to let you pass, but your cultivation is too low, as such I do not know anything about the situation inside the Angry Axe Valley. So I hope that you can hide in the God Wind Academy and go into closed-door cultivation. Deacon Lu promised me that I would have a separate immortal cave in the God Wind Academy. You can stay in this immortal cave for the time being, and wait for me to come back." Ji Luofei gave an N sound and said, "I understand, you can go to the Angry Axe Valley. I will wait for you in the God Wind Academy." Ji Luofei also secretly made up her mind. She decided to cultivate diligently, in order to shorten the distance between her and Ning Cheng as soon as possible. She was very clear about Ning Cheng's thoughts. The God Wind Academy was not a place for them to retire. If they wanted to live in this place with dignity, then they would have to improve their own strength. She had experienced too many things since she came from the Chongqing province. God Wind Academy, hee, it sounds very awe-inspiring. Lian Hao would like to meet you. A lazy voice was heard, and then a man with black hair and triangular-shaped eyes landed on the platform. After this man landed on the platform, he glanced at Gu Hong and said, "Originally I wanted to complete junior brother Gu Ye's idea, and first get rid of Chu Yong Xian and then get rid of Sitiyu, but since you want to come up and court death first, I will help you." Although 10 points was not much, it was still a point. Remember, I went on stage with 20 points. You got lucky. When Gu Hong heard that Lian Hao didn't even put him in his eyes, his face turned red with anger. He didn't even speak, and the violent tiger spade in his hand had already been blasted out. At the same time that Gu Hong made his move, Lian Hao also raised his hand, bringing out a huge seal. In the blink of an eye, the huge seal expanded to a radius of nearly 10 feet and blasted towards Gu Hong. Anyone who had cultivated before would know that magic treasures that did not seem to have much lethality on the surface would often have much greater offensive power. However, it also required a more powerful spiritual sense or spiritual sense. As for cultivators with weaker spiritual sense, they would usually choose magic artifacts such as sabers, swords, spears and so on. Of course, this was not absolute. Once a magic treasure reached a certain level, it could not be judged by its outer appearance. But for the cultivators of the true condensation realm, using the appearance of the magic weapon to judge the strength of the cultivator's spiritual sense was the most intuitive. Boom! Kacha! The giant seal smashed into Gu Hong's violent tiger spade, directly scattering the true essence surrounding the violent tiger spade. In just a single moment, Gu Hong was blasted back dozens of meters, as he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood in the air. If not for his violent tiger spade, then he would have lost half of his life. He was definitely not this person's opponent. Gu Hong's heart turned cold, as he quickly admitted defeat. But he immediately discovered that his voice was unexpectedly suppressed by the true essence of the giant seal, as he was simply unable to make any sound. Lian Hao wanted to kill him. Gu Hong immediately understood this point in his heart. At this time he felt endless regret in his heart. He absolutely should not have come up to the stage to show off. This was not something that he could show off. This was equivalent to throwing away his life. If he did not have the strength, then he simply would not be able to come up to the stage to fight. At this time, Lian Hao's giant seal had already smashed down for the second time. Gu Hong suppressed the fear in his heart, and once again brought out the violent tiger spade. Perhaps it was because he was in a desperate situation, but his true essence was much more powerful than usual. This time the violent tiger spade exploded in the air around it, as it directly bombarded the giant seal. Ka! Once again a crisp sound rang out, as Gu Hong was hit by the giant seal and fell on the stage, as he opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. This time Lian Hao did not give Gu Hong any opportunity, as he rushed forward and stepped on Gu Hong's chest. Gu Hong's chest caved in from Lian Hao's foot. He wanted to raise his head and ask why he was not allowed to admit defeat, but unfortunately, he no longer had the strength to do so. His head was only raised halfway, before it completely drooped down on the stage. When Gu Hong was pushed back for the first time, all the people could see that he was going to lose. Moreover, some of them could see that Lian Hao's true essence was preventing Gu Hong from admitting defeat. But no one dared to step forward to stop Lian Hao from continuing. With the example of the Shui clan's essence-building elder, no one dared to make even the slightest excessive move in the tournament. Ning Qing frowned. He had killed Shui Yu. It was because Shui Yu wanted to kill him, but Gu Hong had already surrendered. Moreover, he and Lian Hao did not have any great enmity between them, so why did Lian Hao want to kill Gu Hong? Moreover, in these few matches, besides Meng Jingxiu's first opponent who was still alive, the rest were all killed. How was this a tournament? This was a duel of life and death. The people in the public square were also aware of the bloody atmosphere of the 5-star tournament, but this bloody atmosphere only brought out more fanatical noise. The people who came to watch the tournament only hoped that the tournament would be more bloody. No one wanted the tournament to be as plain as water, without even half a ripple. The people who came to the stage were the elite disciples of the various academies. To see the bloody fight between the elite disciples was the main purpose of most of the people who came here. After Lian Hao killed Gu Hong, he unexpectedly was just like Gu Yi. He did not step down from the stage, but continued to stand on the stage and said without any expression on his face, Thunder Academy's Lian Hao challenges God Wind Academy's Chu Yong Xian with 30 points. Lu Xian could not help but immediately said to Chu Yong Xian, Nephew Yong Xian, you are not Lian Hao's opponent. Chu Yong Xian cupped his fists towards Lu Xian and said, Deacon Lu, even if I lose, I still have to go up and try, otherwise if I lose without even fighting, it would leave a mark in my heart. At the last moment, I will admit defeat in advance. I ask Deacon Lu to rest assured. Deacon Lu, we and the Thunder Academy do not have much of a grudge, moreover that Gu Yi was not killed by my God Wind Academy, why does that Lian Hao have to go against our God Wind Academy? Another essence-building realm cultivator from the God Wind Academy asked Lian Hao to challenge the God Wind Academy one after another, and was very puzzled. Lu Xian stared at Lian Hao, and spoke in a slow voice, I also do not understand the reason. It stands to reason that even if he wanted to challenge, he would have challenged Sitiyu. While the few people were talking, Lian Hao and Chu Yong Xian had already started fighting on the stage. Lian Hao's giant seal rolled out, and almost the entire battle stage was covered with the shadow of the giant seal. The restrictions around the spacious square battle stage were constantly shaking because of the true essence that was being blasted out by the giant seal. Chu Yong Xian's artifact was a wide-back purple blade, compared to Gu Hong who did not even have the ability to fight back. Chu Yong Xian still had the ability to bring out a round shield, while the purple blade could even fight against the giant seal in a stalemate. But if he continued to think like this, then Chu Yong Xian would definitely follow in Gu Hong's footsteps. After half an hour, Chu Yong Xian felt that his own true essence was already somewhat insufficient, and even his spiritual sense was finding it very difficult to simultaneously control the round shield and the purple blade. He knew that he could at least throw in the towel, at least he would be able to save some face. At this time, Chu Yong Xian suddenly felt that the giant seal had once again expanded to nearly double its original size. Not only that, but a black triangular streamer was also brought out by Lian Hao. Chu Yong Xian immediately felt that his breathing was not smooth, while at the same time his spiritual sense also became stiff. He immediately understood that before Lian Hao had not used his full strength, the opposite party had been waiting for this moment. He quickly shouted out, I throw in the towel. But his voice was directly swept away by the black triangular streamer. The giant seal had already doubled in size, but this time its speed was several times faster than before, as it directly fell on top of Chu Yong Xian's round shield. Chu Yong Xian's round shield was directly smashed away. Chu Yong Xian quickly retreated, but he did not think that Lian Hao's control over the giant seal had already reached a point that he could not even imagine. Such a huge giant seal unexpectedly after smashing the round shield, without any warning it turned around, and then exploded on Chu Yong Xian's back. Poof! A stream of blood continuously sprayed out. Chu Yong Xian also did not have any chance to throw in the towel, and was immediately beheaded by Lian Hao. In just a short period of time, 2 people from the God Wind Academy were killed. This and the God Wind Academy's previous 2 consecutive victories formed a sharp contrast. This contrast was simply too glaring. Ning Qing stared at Lian Hao from afar, but did not speak. Lian Hao's insidiousness was not worse than Sitiyu, moreover he seemed to have made up his mind to kill the people from the God Wind Academy. Looking at this person's endless means, Ning Qing was not sure if this person still had other means. As if he knew that Ning Cheng was looking at him, Lian Hao unexpectedly showed a faint smile towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's heart skipped a beat. This person seemed to have inadvertently seen him a moment ago, but his smile was actually filled with a strong killing intent. This person had come for him. Ning Cheng immediately understood. Gu Hong and Chu Yong Xian were killed by Lian Hao. It was very likely that they were implicated by him. This person wanted to first kill all the people from the God Wind Academy, and then finally challenge him. He did not expect that Chu Yong Xian would not die in the hands of Gu Yi, but would instead die in the hands of Lian Hao. Ning Qing thought for a long time, but could not think of anything, as to how he had offended Lian Hao. Why did this person have such a strong killing intent towards him? However, at this time Ning Cheng had already listed Lian Hao as a person he must kill. Since he was targeting him, then he would absolutely not be polite. The third round of the tournament on the projection array formation screen once again changed the scoreboard. The first place was still the Clear Sky Academy's Situ Yu with 60 points. But because Lian Hao had killed 2 people in a row, plus his own 20 points, at this time his score had already reached 40 points. But Ning Cheng had 30 points, at this time he was ranked third on the scoreboard. At this moment there were only 9 people with points on the scoreboard: Clear Sky Academy's Situ Yu with 60 points, Thunder Academy's Lian Hao with 40 points, Ling Naixin with 20 points. God Wind Academy's Ning Cheng with 30 points, Meng Jing Xiu with 20 points. Luohua Academy's Fang Xian with 30 points, Puli Xian with 10 points. Falling Star Academy's Meng Yu Jing with 20 points, Qi Zi Wen with 20 points. All the people knew that the third round of the tournament had just begun, and Lian Hao was the real master. Chapter 117. Hey, big brother, it's really you. You also came to the Hua Continent's Emoze City? A simple and honest-looking youth ran in front of Ning Cheng and spoke in a pleasantly surprised voice. This youth looked very sturdy, moreover his voice was a bit hoarse, and he had the cultivation of Qi gathering 7th level. Haha, Yu Yuan Hua, long time no see. Ning Cheng saw this simple and honest-looking youth, and immediately had a good impression of him. This youth was the same as him. He treasured his younger sister very much. Because of this, he gave the pair of pearl hair clips to the other party. Hey, how do you know that I am called Yu Yuan Hua? The youth touched his head. He was the one who found Ning Cheng in the Nan Yuan city, and asked Ning Cheng for the pair of pearl hair clips to give to his younger sister. Afterwards, because he joined the Clear Heart Academy, he did not have the opportunity to thank Ning Cheng. Now that he saw Ning Cheng again, he felt extremely happy in his heart. Ning Cheng patted his shoulder and said, "You have a thunder spiritual root, you are very famous in the Nan Yuan city, how could I not know about you?" Ning Cheng was also secretly shocked in his heart at the cultivation speed of a person with a mutated spiritual root. In such a short time, not only was Yuing at Qi gathering 6th level, even this Yu Yuan Hua was at Qi gathering 6th level. Ning Cheng, does he have a mutated thunder spiritual root? Lu Xian asked in shock, while looking at Yu Yuan Hua with shining eyes. Ning Cheng chuckled and said, "Deacon Lu, not only does he have a mutated thunder spiritual root, even his younger sister also has a mutated wind spiritual root. But the brother and sister are disciples of the Falling Star Academy, our academy can forget about them." Lu Xian sighed. He thought that the God Wind Academy had found a few good seedlings, but compared to a person with a mutated spiritual root, they were nothing. Yu Yuan Hua did not care about Ning Cheng and Lu Xian's words. He waved towards the distant Falling Star Academy and said, "Little Ing, come here, I'll introduce you to that big brother." Although Yu Ying was in the Falling Star Academy, but she was always paying attention to her big brother Yu Yuan Hua. Her big brother was a straightforward person, but was not as clever as her. At this time when she heard her big brother's call, she quickly ran over from the Falling Star Academy. The Falling Star Academy saw that Yu Ying and Yu Yuan Hua had come to the God Wind Academy, and also quickly sent 2 people to follow them. Ji Yao, he really didn't want to talk to her niece again, but she had to obey the orders of the Academy elders and come to look after the Yu siblings. After Ning Cheng killed Shui Yu, she was even more sure that Ning Cheng had a secret on him. It was a pity that even if she told the Shui clan, she wouldn't be able to obtain any benefits. She could only think in her heart that when Ning Cheng was alone, she would then stop Ning Cheng and interrogate him. "Little sister, this big brother is the one who gave me the pearl hair clip, he is a very good person." Yu Yuan Hua, on seeing his sister Yu Ying come over, quickly pointed to Ning Cheng and introduced him to his sister. Yu Ying showed a faint smile and said, "I know him, he is called Ning Cheng. We also met in Nan Yuan City, but you weren't there at that time." When she first saw Ning Cheng, she felt very surprised. But after listening to Lu Shui and Yong Guyun talk about Su Zhu's character, her opinion of Ning Cheng plummeted. In her heart, Lu Shui and Yong Guyun's words were much more credible than Ning Cheng's words. Moreover, Ning Cheng's explanation at that time was that he wanted to be with Su Zhu, and it was none of their business. But Yu Ying did not like to talk about such things, so she did not tell her brother about it. Yu Yuanhua frowned, and suddenly spoke up, "Little Ying, when we were young, Grandpa taught us to be grateful, and not to ignore small matters. Although a pair of pearl hair clips is nothing to us right now, but it is something that Big Brother Ning likes, and he gave it to us for free, at least you should thank him." Yu Ying's face turned red, she suddenly felt that her thoughts were very wrong. No matter what Ning Cheng did, it was his character. At the very least, he didn't ask for any reward or any conditions when he gave him a pair of pearl hair clips. She had previously been influenced by Lu Shui and Yong Guyun's words, and unexpectedly had some disdain towards Ning Cheng. This was really her fault. Thinking till here, Yu Ying quickly gave a deep bow to Ning Cheng and said, "Many thanks Big Brother Ning for giving me this pair of pearl hair clips." Yu Ying was somewhat rude before. Seeing Yu Ying's attitude, Yu Yuanhua grinned and said, "Haha, Big Brother Ning, sometimes my little sister is not clever, and can't think of some things." Ning Cheng found it a bit funny in his heart. Was Yu Ying not clever? Compared to this big brother of hers, she was many times more clever. "Yu Ying, Yu Yuanhua, the tournament is still ongoing, hurry up and follow me back to the Academy's encampment." Ji Yao he came over and directly called out to the two of them. Yu Yuanhua quickly spoke, "Big Brother Ning bought a bunch of pearl hair clips for his little sister and gave them to Little Ying. I brought Little Ying to thank him." Ji Yao he sneered, "I only know that the Zhanglu city's Ning clan only has Ning Cheng. Oh, there is also an unknown steward. When did Ning Cheng have a little sister? I have never heard of such a strange thing. Now that the Academy's great tournament is still going on, you should hurry up and come back to the encampment with me." Ji Yao he obviously said that Ning Cheng was lying. If not for the Yu clan's brother and sister's qualifications being heaven-defying, Ji Yao he would absolutely not be so amiable towards him. After she finished, she deliberately looked at Ji Luofei, meaning that Ning Cheng was lying. However, Ji Luofei just stood at Ning Cheng's side, even her eyes did not change. It was obvious that her words were nothing but air in Ji Luofei's eyes. When Ji Yao he left with the Yu clan's brother and sister, the new fight on the platform also ended. Falling Star Academy's True Condensation 9th level Chi Zi when defeated Luo Ho Academy's True Condensation 9th level Pu Li Xian. Chi Zi Wen's score also reached 30 points, while Pu Li Xian was directly eliminated. This fight was the second time in a row that no one had fallen. After a few rounds, the Luo Ho Academy only had Fang Xian left. Fang Xian's 30 points were given to him by the other participants of the Luo Ho Academy. The third round of the tournament for the 5-star academies was incomparably fierce. Once they lost, it was very likely that they would end up losing their lives. Moreover, there were many experts in the tournament. Whether it was the Clear Sky Academy's Sita Yu, or the Thunder Academy's Lian Hao, both of them were incomparably powerful existences. Even the God Wind Academy's most powerful True Condensation Master, in front of Lian Hao, was not able to hold on for long, and was directly killed. Many of the participants knew that they were not strong enough, and simply gave the points in their hands to the more powerful opponents from their academies. Fang Xian finally could not bear it. He took the initiative to step onto the platform, cupped his fists and loudly said, "Luo Ho Academy's Fang Xian carries 30 points to challenge the God Wind Academy's Meng Jingxiu." Fang Xian challenging Meng Jingxiu was something that everyone had expected. Now among the remaining 8 people, it was estimated that Meng Jingxiu's cultivation was the lowest. Moreover, Meng Jingxiu carried 20 points, and the Luo Ho Academy was in urgent need of points to maintain their face. Not to mention that Meng Jingxiu had defeated the Luo Ho Academy's Zhu Junjia in the first round, and even took away 10 points from the Luo Ho Academy. Now Fang Xian challenging Meng Jingxiu was also a matter of course. Hearing that Fang Xian actually dared to challenge her, Meng Jingxiu's eyebrows jumped up. She did not even say a single word, and directly flew onto the platform. As you wish. Meng Jingxiu had just landed on the platform, when she immediately brought out her halberd. At the same time an inexhaustible halberd shadow burst out. Meng Jingxiu was the first cultivator to step onto the platform. Moreover, she was a dark horse, and easily defeated the true condensation 8th level cultivator Zhu Junjie. Now that she and the true condensation 9th level cultivator Fang Xian fought, it was even more eye-catching. The magical weapon that Fang Xian brought out was extremely simple. It was just a very ordinary sword. After Meng Jingxiu brought out her halberd, he calmly waved the long sword in his hands. With just a simple wave, the long sword instantly blurred, as a terrifying ice chill froze the entire platform. Meng Jingxiu's halberd shadow was affected by this ice chill, and immediately slowed down. The blurred sword shadow suddenly gave out a shrill cry, as it completely gathered the surrounding ice chill, and in just a few breaths, it transformed into a long ice sword, with an incomparably fast speed. Hua! The halberd shadow that Meng Jingxiu brought out instantly broke apart under this simple sword shadow. Ding! A crisp sound emerged. As the halberd shadow dispersed, the exposed halberd and Fang Xian's long sword collided with each other, issuing a soul-shaking sound. Fang Xian stood motionless in the same place, while Meng Jingxiu was sent flying upside down by the impact, and was only barely able to stop when she reached the edge of the platform. Even if that was the case, the powerful true essence backlash still caused her chest to churn endlessly. Meng Jingxiu was not injured, but her complexion was very ugly to look at. With just one move, with just one face-to-face encounter, she knew that there was an insurmountable gap between her and her opponent. If she wanted to defeat Fang Xian, then she would have to advance to the true condensation 9th level to have a chance. Fang Xian did not pursue her. If Fang Xian pursued her, and was bent on killing Meng Jingxiu, then Meng Jingxiu, besides falling, could only seize the opportunity to throw in the towel. I lost. Meng Jingxiu knew that Fang Xian did not have any intention to kill her, as she spoke those words with a somewhat defeated face, as she desolately walked down the platform. Originally she thought that with her ability, even if she lost, it would not be so simple. But now that she had to fight against a real master, she found that she was still far behind. Fang Xian did not continue to challenge other people, as he slowly walked down the platform. But at this time, no one could underestimate him. Even if the Luohua Academy only had Fang Xian left, he was still a formidable opponent. Because Fang Xian defeated Meng Jingxiu, his score rose from 30 to 50, while Meng Jingxiu was eliminated. At this time, the God Wind Academy's score was at the bottom. Not only was the God Wind Academy's score at the bottom, but the only one left was Ning Cheng. Among the remaining participants with a score, Ning Cheng's cultivation was also the lowest. It was not simply the lowest, but it was also the lowest by several grades. At this moment, the God Wind Academy's dreamlike opening no longer existed. Similarly, no one was optimistic about the God Wind Academy. Whether it was the God Wind Academy or the God Wind Academy's Meng Jingxiu, both of them were beaten back to their original form in this battle. The God Wind Academy had 2 dark horses, but it turned out that the dark horses could only be dark for once. Now that Meng Jingxiu was defeated, how long could that Ning Shaoqing be dark? You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.